Ladies, gentlemen, and Rocket League fans all around the world, I want to bid you a good morning and a happy Easter as we come into the very first weekend of the regional finals for the LPL Pro Rocket League Oceanic Championship. And Watson, mate, we've done it. We've made it all the way through 7 weeks of league play, and here we are in the playoffs, man. It's just surreal sometimes to be here.
Yeah, it's been a hell of 7 weeks. I mean, there's been some upsets, some crazy results, and just some crazy Rocket League in general. So to finally have our top 4 teams and a few that maybe some people didn't pick, and we'll get to see who kind of comes out on top of this top 4, but I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Oh man, the season was just filled with surprises, so let's take a little trip down memory lane as we go through all the weeks of league play. I mean, it started right from the get-go where we had Mindfreak kicking things off by upsetting the defending champions, the Renegades, 3-1.
Yeah, not bad. And then Mindfreak again here with a Game 5 overtime goal to clinch their second win. I mean, at the start of the season, they were undefeated, which helped them get the run into playoffs, so some great play from them.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, like, we didn't just have upsets, we had tons and tons of overtimes as well. Game 5's the series going all the way, going all the distance. I mean, here we had, what was this? This is Renegades beating Esper in Game 5 in overtime, getting it done, and still matches like that just happened all throughout the season. And Fury upsetting Renegades as well with a 3-1 scoreline. That was probably, I mean, we had a big upset at the start, but this one came out of nowhere as well. So things like this just happen throughout the season.
Yeah, and then you see Cringe Society here kind of linking up as that super team with Torsos and Tripper in that insane play there. Kind of shows why they're here as well. I think a lot of people expected them to be here, but just plays like that kind of back up why people think that.
Yeah, and then of course Fury. I mean, these guys are almost the masters of the reverse sweep because they managed to do it again here. And then of course our final week, I mean, we had still all the way to the very end, just fun plays, great mechanics from all the teams. Renegades still showing off all the way to the end of week number 7. But that's the story throughout league play. And you know what? Now that we're here in the playoffs, it's just been such a fun season so far, but this is where we crack down and get the serious games. And to do that, we've brought in some experts on the Rocket League scene and some fan favorites, of course, across the ditch. 2 lovely gentlemen, Yummy Cheeseman, of course, and Formal have joined us for the regional finals. Lads, how is it to be here?
Oh, I love it. It's been a great season so far, probably the closest season we've had yet, and it's just good to be back on the desk with you guys and with Max as well, joining us for the first time.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting to be here. Kind of feel like I finally made it to the big leagues, and what a great place to make a debut. 4 of the best teams in OCE. I am so pumped to call this action.
And guys, look, speaking of the big leagues, this is one of the biggest prize pools that Oceania has ever seen, and it's very top heavy, so playoffs are going to be incredibly important to get that first and second place. As you can see, 37.5k, 24k for first and second place, and then it starts to drop off fairly dramatically as you get near the bottom, but there's still some good amounts of money in there. And then as well, you take a look at the player accolades, and that is a whole lot of fun as well. So players individually, they get to earn a ton of money just by being absolute bosses throughout league play. So we will be awarding some of these today. And you know what? I'm real keen for this because this is what a lot of people look forward to. So, I mean, guys, let's start off with the Golden Striker. And Yummy, you know, I mean, I would feel honored if you'd announce these for us. So I'm going to let you do the honors on all of them. Golden Striker, let's kick it off with that. Who is taking this one away?
Well, an incredible season, and for this guy, the Golden Striker, he's always been a player who could have got it, but didn't quite. But Jules is the Golden Striker. GroundZero Gaming off an incredible season, but Jules able to score goal after goal after goal. I think as well, throughout the season, they had these games where they just ran away, scored 6 or 7 goals in a single game, and Jules head of the pack.
Yeah, Jules always really been that pop-off player. Always been at the top of the pack, but never really the best. So maybe this is his first season. He's really showed that he is one of those top players, and he deserves a place in the big 3 teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really representative of GroundZero's season, how so many times in the past they've been close to that #1 seed, but never quite made it. Well, Jules this time, he's atop the Golden Striker. His team is atop the standings, and really symbolic, I have to feel.
All right, boys. Well, let's go to the other end of the spectrum. It's one thing to get the ball in the goal. It's another thing to keep it completely out. So, Yummy, who is going to be our savior of the season?
Well, saviors this season always ends up going to somebody at the bottom of the table who had a lot of shots scored against them, and it continues in that trend. Tango will get that from Canberra Havoc. 2.43 average saves per game, incredibly high, and honestly, really good to see for his first ever season. He was, of course, a rookie on a previous RLCS team.
Yeah, always the bottom teams that usually concede the most shots, but Canberra Havoc also known for being defensive team, so it's kind of both of those coming together, and then also the big car kind of stopping them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have that Merc, it's just like jamming a brick into the goalpost. You're always going to make the save. However, really excited to see Tango do it. One of many rookies who actually stood out this entire season. And I'm sure we're going to get into more maybe a bit later in this tournament today. There's a lot of fun when still competing. But Tango, he might not have made, top 4, but he did get himself that savior of the season.
And guys, of course, we've got to talk about the glue that holds the team together, the clutch playmaker, the one that makes all the magic happen. And let's announce that now. Yummy, who made it happen for their team this season?
Well, clutch playmaker for me is always my favorite one. It's usually given to a support player who don't usually get a lot of credit, and it's Express from GroundZero. Very hard to do, or to not get it when both your teammates were at the top of the Golden Striker leaderboards, first for Jules, third for Deca, and Express at the rear, getting these passes going. Very good to see him, and he's one of the biggest veterans here. The only player outside of, the Taurus Drippe here that have actually come through as the first seed before.
Yeah, although he's a veteran, I think a lot of people kind of had doubts of whether this GroundZero team would come together, losing Requiem, who's a fantastic mechanical player. And I think with a accolade like that, just showing why Express is kind of putting the doubts to rest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's putting the doubts to rest because Express, he has been known sometimes to fall up a little bit short in those clutch games, but he's coming in today with that clutch playmaker accolade, and that could be the catalyst, that change in mindset that could turn things around for both him and his team.
And guys, the big one, the league MVP, the biggest accolade of the whole season, is going to be announced next week at the finals, so make sure you tune in for that one to find out who it is. But there it is. The other 3 accolades have been awarded. GroundZero getting a good amount of them as well, so they're going to be feeling fantastic for that one. But guys, we have to talk about how the season ended before we moved into the playoffs, into the regionals. So let's take a look at the leaderboard because, man, there have been some surprises, as we've been saying throughout the season. So you take a look at it. You've got Mindfreak, GroundZero tied at the top, although GroundZero taking the first seed with the game differential. Then Fury and Cringe Society and Renegades all in a 4 and 3. However, Renegades with the lower game differential do not make it into playoffs this season. That's right, you heard me right. Renegades are not making it. And then as we move further down, Team S were also on that 4 and 3 scoreline, also competing for that spot, but didn't make it as well thanks to game differential. Then you've got Over and Canberra Havoc, maybe wanting a bit of a better season, unfortunately for them, only picking up a win apiece. But at least Over took a win off Cringe Society. But guys, what do we think about this one, this leaderboard right now? Renegades the biggest surprise?
We haven't seen a season this close since season 4 of RLCS, but I think this one is even the closest season yet, with 3 teams all on 5 and 2. There's actually a small mistake there on the graphic, but 3 teams are all on 5 and 2, all game differential, and 2 teams fighting for that 4th spot here in the finals was pretty crazy. But on top of that, it's not just these standings, it's also how the games went. If Cringe Society got one more goal against GroundZero, they would be in 1st seed and GroundZero 4th seed. Everything would be getting switched on its head. Renegades were really close as well. Fury only just scraped by with 2 reverse sweeps. It does not get closer than this, and it's a great sign that these finals are going to be one to remember.
All right, guys. Now I want to talk about how the bracket now looks after we've got our leaderboard in. So we're going to have our first match of the day, which is going to be GroundZero versus Cringe Society as the first seed versus the fourth seed. I mean, you would not expect that at the start of the season, Cringe Society being the fourth seed. So that is still going to be an insanely close match. And then, of course, Mindfreak versus Fury. And then the loser of those two matches, as you can see on the schedule here, we'll be playing later today in our third series of the day. So, look, I want to talk about this first match first, because it's going to be, like I said, probably one of the closest series today, even if it is that first versus fourth seed. So, I mean, Yummy, coming into this one, GroundZero versus Cringe Society, you said it was 1 goal difference. Is that still the case? Are they that close still?
I think so. You have GroundZero, they're coming in confident. They've had a great first seed run for the first time. For Decker and Jules, especially first time coming in as the first seed. And Cringe Society, they're a team that back themselves up as well. I spoke to Torsos, and he said that this is their tournament, this is their finals to lose. He is that confident. And honestly, you kind of look at these two teams, and you look at their shot differential throughout the season. They're the two top shot differential, and that's usually the stat that says, well, they had the most offense and the least defense in terms of where they were, and that's normally the team that does the best. And results just didn't quite go Cringe Society's way this time, but these two are the veteran teams. They're the ones that have worlds players. The other two teams do not. So these are the veterans. The other match is going to be the, I guess, the challengers coming through.
All right, Yummy. I mean, look, I want to break these teams down. I mean, we're talking about the players already, but let's take a look at exactly the rosters. First up, it's going to be GroundZero. I mean, Jules and Express, we've already seen them in the Accolades. Decker swinging in as well. So break this roster down for me. Why is it so successful coming in at first seed?
Well, we saw Jules and Express come in Accolades, of course, but Decker has been probably the most informed player. He's certainly a contender for MVP. He was named in the Accolades, I think, second and third between Clutch Playmaker and Golden Striker. So he's had a huge season. They've worked really well together. And it's this introduction of Express that I think has really added a lot. I mean, Express has been around forever. And the thing with me is, I've always questioned Express, and in last season, a major part of their downfall, falling early when he was playing with CJ and Drippe, losing in a major upset to Canberra Havoc, and I think I've always questioned, or for the last 2 seasons, I've questioned Express's ability to play under pressure. Well, now he has the chance to prove that, now that he's separated from both CJ, who hasn't made it, and from Drippe, who he's playing against.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Drippe, so let's take a look at the opponents that they're going to be playing against. It's Cringe Society. These guys have been lauded as a super team since day one, and for good reason. This is probably one of the most decorated teams in Oceanic history, perhaps?
It's part of the super team, you know, Torsos, Drippe, they've got 3 regional championships together. Torsos has has won every single regional championship but one, and that was against Express, of course. Drippe, he was the one who went to America and came back, but he hasn't looked the same when he came back. You know, he's reformed with Torsos. He still hasn't been that star player, that legend that we all saw. So I'm looking at Drippe today alongside Express to see if he can pick that up. And of course, they have brought in Spydoge, World Championship experience, a brand new high potential player. He was the best player on Canberra Havoc. In fact, based on the results of this season with Canberra Havoc coming 8th, he was the player on Canberra Havoc to make the difference. And so I just feel for those guys, it's been taking some time to integrate him into a more aggressive playstyle, into a more challenge-heavy playstyle. But it's been 8 weeks. This is their time to absolutely pop off or go home.
Yeah, we've had some time since we last saw these teams fight. So, I mean, we've got to see what they're thinking about the match before. And we did actually catch up with both, well, actually with only one of the teams so far, although you did catch up with Cringe Society. But we'll start off with, of course, their opponents, GroundZero. They had some pretty confident words to say, but I've got to say, probably all cool, calm, collected. I'd say that's probably the theme of their thoughts.
Making it this far, anything less than top 4 was like kind of unacceptable given our past. But even though it's still nice to make it, after, like it's always been quite difficult. But I think getting #1 seed was just the cherry on top, so we're going very confident. After last season, it was pretty disappointing how we played. We got 4th, and besides a bit of misfortune, we hadn't really worked things out as a team properly, and it showed. But this time we've got Express instead of Billy, and this time we've sort of worked out a much better way to play the game, and we're much more comfortable. And all we have to do is execute it, and hopefully we'll take it all.
So, from my point of view, it sounds like these guys have, they're not super confident. I mean, not overconfident in this, but they're cool, they're collected, they know exactly what they're doing, they've got a plan.
Well, they have to be confident, right? They're the only team to have beaten all 3 of the other teams in the top 4. In fact, the other guys all went 1 and 2 and a bit of a round robin towards each other. These guys have been dominant amongst the top 4, but they shouldn't be overconfident either because it wasn't a clear blast through league play. They didn't 7-0 or even 6-1. They still had to go into a 3-way tiebreaker to get that first seed. And for them as well, maybe their first ever experience being what has to be the favorite team, and also first experience not having to verse a team like the Renegades, who they helped knock down, and Cringe Society helped knock down and out of the top 4.
Now, just very quickly before we jump to the game, we didn't catch up with Cringe Society, but you did talk to them before the series.
Yeah.
So what were they thinking before coming into the playoffs?
Well, I spoke with Torsos, and when you speak with a player like Torsos, who every season goes in and knows that he is going to win, come first, well, it feels very par for the course of him. For them, a shaky season, but they kind of had their own reasoning for that and their own, I guess, struggles throughout the season. So we may see them turn around. I've looked at Cringe Society, and I've seen them have individual performances, such as their one against Renegades, such as some of their performances in the Gauntlet, where they were the team we expected them to be the dominant team, to be a team that could do well at Worlds. So if they bring out that team today and next weekend, they could easily win it all.
Okay, Yummy. I think we've broken this down enough. We've talked about the teams enough. There's only one thing left to do, and it's to see the series in action. So let's kick things off with our very first match in the regional playoffs. And Watson and Formal, lads, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Smite and Yummy, for breaking it all down. I mean, you kind of touched on it earlier, Yummy, saying that there was only 1 goal difference separating these teams from swapping in the standings. And I think that's the best way to describe this match. They're so evenly set up that this is going to be one hell of a first match.
Yeah, I mean, what was it last time these two teams played against each other? 3 overtimes, reverse sweep that went GroundZero's way. It was fireworks on the pitch, and we're about to see that again, one would think. I mean, what a way to kick off this top 4. What a way to kick off, this semi-final day. Is the 2 more veteran teams going at it, the ones who have been here before. I think they're going to really set the pace, especially for those rookies who are watching and waiting and getting eager to get in it. As we're getting into it right now, we're already seeing those words go. We're on the pitch and we are underway.
Yeah, what an explosive start, almost resulting in a goal, but Torsos missing off the back, but Spido's just able to clean it up. A little bit of panic coming up from GroundZero there.
Yeah, that was a great start for Cringe Society right off the bat. As you can see, Spido's just dunking it right over the top of Jules. It's going to find that first goal, and great start for the Cringe Society.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if they can bring it back on the second kickoff. You see it there winning a bit of pressure, but a good boom from Torsos going towards net. Forces out a save.
Yeah, forces the save for now. Drippe with possession is going to try and drop it into the box, although it does look like Spidos was able to get a momentary clear. He's still keeping that pressure there. Torsos with the follow through into the corner. No one able to crack this defensive rotation just yet. Here comes a shot. It was Spidos who put it on target. Jules was able to make the save, and looks to be now a turn and a counterattack coming from GroundZero. Just Deca half the shot. He puts it on target, but it's a little high.
Yeah, Jules looking for the demo there, opening the net up for Deca, but just couldn't find his angle there. Ends up hitting the post, but Express's shot forces a stay from Torsos, and Spidos has to do well to get this out of danger, but it looks like it goes straight into the hands of GroundZero. Looking for a double touch from Express here, but mishits it.
Yeah, Drippe able to clear it out at the nick of time. 2 members in the goal at the moment. Torsos is going to be the one to push it out. He is one of the best individual mechanical players, and he's trying it style right there, but Deca puts himself between the goal and the ball. Jules is going to have to push forward. He's going to try to take it past mid-pitch as Drippe, kind of an awkward flip right there, leads to a shot on target. Torsos will catch for now, but Deca keeping the pressure. Spidos looking for the clear, going to try and take it across mid-pitch. Jules reach it right now, and a lot of back and forth, but a lot of mid-pitch challenges. No one really giving their opponent space. Jules with the shot. Good save by Drippe.
Yeah, both teams forcing out some good saves, and it's pretty even. Honestly, it's just that early goal from Cringe Society, and when these guys played in League play, it was just 1 goal in every game, so that early goal means a lot.
Yeah, but if we're going to look at who has the momentum, I have to say it still is Cringe Society. They're the team that's being on the attack. That's where they're most comfortable. However, GroundZero, if they can find a quick counterattack, a hole in those offensive rotations, they can equalize in a heartbeat, and just like that, Jules times this game up.
Yeah, just as you said, a little mistake here in net from Spidos. Doesn't get the clearance at all, just goes straight past it. Doesn't read it very well. Torstos can't help him up, and Jules dunks it on down.
Yeah, and that is what the doctor ordered for GroundZero as they find themselves their first goal. And this kickoff looking fantastic. Deca has all the time in the world, but Spidos able to get there. That was such a great save coming from the Doji. Counterattack for Cringe Society is looking pretty good. Drippe is going to try to play the backboard, but Jules with the demo on the Torsos will stop the attack for now.
Yeah, really interesting kickoff there. Just almost missing it, Cringe Society, and just letting GroundZero have almost a free goal. Luckily, Spidos did enough to save it in net, and now at the other end, it's forcing saves as Jules will try and clear this in the corner.
Cringe Society, they're not skipping a beat. Yes, they gave up a goal before, but they're still on that attack as much as possible. And when these guys smell blood in the water, they're just going to keep attacking. It's where they're most comfortable as Spidos puts yet another one in. So 2-1 for Cringe Society.
Yeah, you said it best, always attacking. You see Torsos there. It looks like he's going to rotate back, turns around, but in the end, Drippe's the one that passes off to Spidos in the middle, who's never going to miss that shot, and luckily enough power to Big Express.
As we get ready for our next kickoff right here, does seem to be going in favor of Cringe Society yet again. Express having to make a save from out of their goal, and it seems like GroundZero, they have clutch save after clutch save, but you can only do too much when it's shot on target after shot on target, and I'm still waiting for that GroundZero counterattack when they start to feast, and it just hasn't seemed to happen consistently yet.
Yeah, these kickoffs are quite strange. Both teams kind of making mistakes during them. So I've got to say, do you think it's maybe the nerves of that first game of playoffs creeping into these teams?
It could be, perhaps. I mean, Cringe Society, I'm not seeing any nerves from this team. They're playing their style. They're getting the shots that they want. They're keeping GroundZero largely on the back foot. It's actually GroundZero, the Feast or Famine team, that haven't had a chance to feast yet. As Spidos, he's hungry, and he just keeps on eating as he finds yet another goal.
Yeah, hesitates here, kind of baits up, expresses flip, and then just puts it on past him. Spidos knew exactly what he was going to do. He was always going to put that in. That's a 2-goal lead to Cringe Society in game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. And with a minute and a half to go, things are looking so good if you're a fan of the Cringe Society, a fan of this super team, wanting to see them step up. This is the start you were hoping to see. This is the game style you were hoping to see. However, GroundZero, they might have something going, or at least it looked to be the case until you saw that mid-pitch clear coming from the Cringe Society side. And once again, Spidos setting up his team. Torsos goes up and Express gets there first. Jules now has a chance to take it to the corner, trying to set up his team with Drippe. Good at defense off of the back wheels, one would say, as he is able to slow that counterattack enough for the defensive rotations to come into play. Jules, though, does win the 50-50. However, no one's there to follow. Drippe with possession gets demoed, but is still able to push the ball to Torsos. Express needs to win this challenge, does not, so Torsos keeps the attack coming. Play off the backboard, ball bouncing into Drippe's lap. He takes the shot, but Express makes the save.
Yeah, and you were saying before how Cringe Society looking so comfortable in the attack, but the reason why they're always up there is just because they're so quick at getting it out of their own half. Not wasting any time, not trying to bait out any players to get an easy clearance, just whack it up and win it in the midfield, and it's working. GroundZero just can't keep the pace.
Oh, but sometimes situations like this can come back to bite him. That was a big miss from Spidos. However, GroundZero unable to capitalize, and once again, Society, they're back on the offensive foot as Drippe kind of benefits from a little bit of an own goal, it looked like.
Yeah, it looks like a pinch from Drippe and Torsos here. Puts it on the backboard. Jules doesn't read it correctly and ends up dunking it on his own net. Golden Striker putting it the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always going to be one, it feels like, in any of these tournaments, and I'm glad we get it out of the way in our first game, as it did happen in the final 10 seconds. It was looking unlikely that GroundZero would bring it back, but Cringe Society do take this first game 4-1, and looking back throughout the season, this is the biggest goal differential between these two teams to date.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Cringe Society looking the best they've ever looked. I think during the season they had their moments, but we said they needed to bring in playoffs, and I think they're starting to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to look very, very strong for the society named Cringe. Spydoge getting a nice little hat trick for himself, and this is that team synergy. This is what we expected when we saw that super team. More games like this, and the entire game, they were playing the game they wanted to. That constant Cringe Society attack, those hard offensive rotations, challenging everything at mid-pitch. GroundZero, they just couldn't really get anything going for themselves.
Yeah, it really felt Cringe Society just kind of dictated the whole pace of the game, and GroundZero were constantly playing catch-up and chasing after the ball, and it's just not working. I think if they maybe slow it down a little bit, or if they go the opposite way and match them in the pace, then it could work. But if they keep playing the way they're playing, it's not going to work for them.
Yeah, but it's so hard to just say, oh, let's try and get things to go a bit better for us, just because Cringe Society, when they do what they do best, which is, keeping that offensive pressure, you have to crack that offensive rotation, but they're one of the best at holding that fort. Really, you have to go back to, I suppose, to looking at the gauntlet where the Renegades, they showed they were able to crack it. They showed they were able to get that counterattack, but they're not here right now. It's all up to GroundZero to find that answer, and they didn't have it in game number 1. Fortunately for them, though, it is a best of 7, so they should be able to bounce it back.
Yeah, at least now they can kind of see the way that Cringe Society is going to be playing. They know that they're playing their best, and now they got to try and counteract that and pick their moments of where they can see maybe a bit of weakness in the Cringe Society. Is there any points that you kind of see that they could attack?
I mean, it's hard. We did see once or twice, someone did go up for that aerial play in mid-pitch, and there was a miss. However, GroundZero just wasn't really fast enough to react in those situations. And I guess you got to be ready to capitalize on any chinks in the armor that Cringe Society might have. But as the series progresses, as they get more comfortable, one would have to think there's going to be less and less of those opportunities. So GroundZero, I mean, they reverse swept last time these two teams played, so we're not writing them off. It's just that was such a strong performance from the Cringe Society. It's hard not to get a bit excited about them.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing to note was those kickoffs were very strange for both teams. I think both of them had moments where it looked like they just missed the ball or really mis-executed their plan of kickoff. So we'll have to see if that kind of carries on into this game number 2 here.
That was a good kickoff. You can see right there, both teams hit the ball. We've solved the kickoff problem as we are back on the pitch. Drippe already going for demos, trying to set up Torsos, who does not have the height for the touch. Spydoge does, but the shot's not quite on target. I do believe Jules was able to do enough to disrupt it. Deca now going for a nice little flick, but it's going to be caught by Drippe, who will pass it back to Spydoge, looking to break the rotation. Spydoge going for that individual play, gets a kind of dunk. I mean, there's enough space right there, so you'd probably say it wasn't. Either way, though, we're going pitch to pitch, corner to corner right now. Awkward bump. Drippe, though, maintains possession and takes it out of the danger zone.
Yeah, you were saying before, GroundZero slow to punish any mistakes. You saw the bump there, and then no one really following up from GroundZero, so it just ended up an easy clearance for Drippe. Another shot from Drippe on the other end. Shot is kept card halfway across the line. Is this Cringe going to find an early lead, but Torsos can't find it. Bounces back to Spydoge, and I believe that's the clearance now for GroundZero.
How did that ball not go in? Drippe is going to want that one back. It looked so good. Now, however, GroundZero has a chance to put the first points on the board. Jules is going to go up to challenge Spydoge, who actually loses possession. So Jules will take this gift, get challenged by Drippe. Actually does lose possession, but Deca should get there first. He has boost. He has an open net off of the demo, but he doesn't put the shot on target. It's all good, though. Spydoge was there to make the save. Either way, Express's turn to try to set up his team will lose out to Drippe, and now we're finally seeing a sustained GroundZero attack.
Yeah, we are, but a lot of the time it's just one player kind of doing everything and the other two sitting quite far back in the rotation. I'd like to see maybe a bit of help. I mean, Deca and Express both up there in the clutch playmaker. Jules, the Golden Strike, you expect maybe at least a 2-man attack, not even, or even a 3 if they're really trying to push for it. But what we're really seeing right now is just one player.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes from showing your opponent's respect and knowing that if they do find themselves on the defense, one man might not be enough against Cringe Society, as Spidos is going to put a shot on target. Great read by Deck and slow things down. Jules now has possession, but already the Society team has rotated back. Jules tries to go over the top, but is stopped for now. Torsos in the corner, has a little bit of boost to work with. He's going to use it to pass a drip, and he's going to go for a backboard pass, but Deca does the read, and Spidos actually has to retreat. This could be the opening because Jules has already cheated up. He's going to play the backboard. Is that last touch there? Not quite.
Yeah, almost there for GroundZero. The final shot coming through, and it's good. Jules finds it from the pass from Deca. It was so close to going in earlier, but a good rotation from Jules. Instead of going back, sees this moment, sees the opening, and puts it in.
And that is that aggressive sort of mindset that was missing from GroundZero in game one. They needed to notice those windows and capitalize on them. Jules doing just that, does get the first goal of this series. But here comes Torsos off of the kickoff. He is not going to find the goal just yet. And now Express a bit on the counterattack himself. He has a boost to redirect it past to Jules. Keeps it up in the air. He'll follow throughout the corner, except Torsos was able to read it and actually does a great defensive effort to throw it back to Express. Torsos again following through. Ball stays in the corner, but Dripe's not going to step up the challenge. Deca with space. He goes for the pass play. Spidos intercepts it for now. Buys enough time for Dripe to make his own clear as he will fall through into the corner. Challenges Express. Semi-wins, but not enough to force out a shot. And once again, it's back to that cross-pitch ping pong.
Yeah, I gotta say, GroundZero looking a lot better, but Cringe Society not out of this at all. Always on the attack. It's just those counterattacks from GroundZero finally looking like there's a bit of malice and a bit of determination to put it in the net. We didn't really see it in the first game.
No, but here's the scary thing about Cringe Society. Yes, they're known for their aggressive playstyle, but they still have Spidos. He was on One Camera Havoc last season, so they know how to play defensively as well. And that's what makes them sort of this dual threat team, that they can be just as comfortable on defense as on attack, as we have seen a bit in this game. However, they've still yet to find that goal. Spidos, good defensive effort right there, throws it up to Torsos, who should take it across the middle of the pitch with the boost. Yeah, pass down to Dripe, and that shot's gonna be good.
What a goal from Cringe Society there. Torsos takes it from Spidos' clearance and goes off, gets the ceiling pass down to Dripe, beats Deca by mere inches to get around that ball and put it on net. And that's an even game with 1:16 left on the clock.
There is nothing more fun in Rocket League, I feel, than great team play, and that's what we saw from Cringe Society right there. Kickoff as well. Double touch attempt from Dripe, not quite on target, so GroundZero should be able to fix things out. Rule 1 was broken by Torsos. I did see that. You can't sneak that one away from us, but this is a competitive situation, so sorry, rules are going to have to be broken.
Yeah, rules had to be broken there. I think they were wanting to keep it, but with the game on a knife's edge, I think neither team really wanted to risk it here. And I mean, these are the two teams that a lot of people would put first and second, and I think this game will decide a lot going into next weekend, so not really willing to risk it.
Yeah, absolutely. A shot from Deca nearly sneaks its way through. Torsos able to make that clutch save, and now with 30 seconds remaining, can either of these teams end this one before overtime? Spidos goes for a 50-50, kind of loses out, and Deca is actually the one to punch through for GroundZero. Jules now with an opportunity, plays it out the corner. It's a great pass to Deca. He takes the shot, but it's a little high. Torsos able to catch it for now off the backboard, but Express keeping the pressure on. Deca's so far back, he's going to have to race to get to the ball, but everyone is missing. Finally, it is Dripe who gets the pass to Torsos, but instead gets blocked by Jules. 3 seconds to go. Deca might have a chance to set up his team. He puts it up. Express is a little too far pushed forward. No one's able to catch it from GroundZero, and we have overtime.
Overtime in game 2. We said this game was going to be close, and we're finally starting to see. I think game 1 was just GroundZero trying to figure out how Cringe Society are going to play, and I think they've done it now. Now we get to see the battle of the Titans and which team's going to come ahead. Jules doesn't have the boost to get the double touch. Instead, Express will pick it up in the middle, but 2 players in net to clear that one away.
Both of them were coming at that with 9 boost right there. A bit unfortunate, GroundZero. You kind of were hoping they had a bit more boost, as it only took 2 games for us to get our first overtime. We knew it was going to come. That first game, I'm assuming, is going to be an outlier. Spidos actually misses the catch. Express has so much space and time to work with, yet they can't make it work, and GroundZero puts it right back in Cringe Society's lap. Here comes Spidos. They'll take game number 2.
GroundZero should have sealed it there, but Express's pass goes beyond Deca, who just gives it off to Spidos. Dripe immediately goes for the demo on the last man, and Spidos has an open net to make it 2-0 in the series to Cringe Society.
And GroundZero, pressure starting to cook up a bit because Cringe Society, it took them a while to warm up in game number 2. It took them in overtime, but they get it done. And GroundZero, it looked like they were going to take that overtime. They were right there in position. It's just a little bit of a misexecution. And all of a sudden, Cringe Society, well, they're not going to let that go unpunished. And 2-0 up, GroundZero is starting to look like a must-win, do-or-die game.
Yeah, definitely. But in league play, it happened the exact same. First game went Cringe Society's way. Overtime in game 2, Cringe takes that. And then that's where GroundZero started to reel it back in. So I have to see if history repeats itself here. But I think GroundZero did look a lot better in this game compared to game number 1. Just the scoreline in general just kind of shows that. But even in the play style, I think a lot of the time they were backing each other up a lot more than we saw.
Yeah, we saw a lot more of GroundZero's offense as well. They were able to get those moments where they were able to crack that offensive rotation of Cringe Society. There was, again, a couple awkward misses coming from the orange side in the middle of the pitch, and this time GroundZero did a better job in capitalizing on it. Now, it didn't necessarily result in a lot of goals, but it's meant more time on that side of the pitch, which meant less pressure, and that's kind of why we saw a smaller scoreline in this one. I think if GroundZero can keep this up, they'll have more opportunities. They'll find a couple more goals, and maybe that will be the ticket for them to get back into this series. However, if they're unable to, if Cringe Society can go back to that game 1 form, go back to that constant pressure, this might be a roughie for the GroundZero side as we are already underway in game number 3.
Yeah, I think the other thing is just complacency in front of net for GroundZero. I think a lot of the time they're starting to panic. Express especially, you saw it near the end there in that overtime where he just overpowered his pass. I think just a little bit more calmness of his nerves there, and he could have found that pass and that would have been GroundZero even out the series, but instead gets immediately countered, and we go into game number 3 with a 2-game lead.
Yeah, and Cringe Society, they're looking back in game 1 form already. Shots coming out from Torsos Spidos, already challenging so far for Drippe as well. They're just trying so hard to stop GroundZero from doing just this, which is pushing into that orange side of the pitch. However, Jules will lose possession, and here comes the Cringe Society counterattack. Perhaps Deca doing what he can mid-pitch, slows enough for the rotation back around Jules, going to slow the pace, and Deca now, he has an opportunity off of the demo, but no one's there to follow through out of the corner.
Jules looking angry there, just chasing down the Cringe Society defenders, taking them out of the game, as sadly the rest of his team couldn't back him up on the play and find anything off of that pressure. Instead, it's gone the other way now, and Cringe Society in the corner. And we see a pass in the field to try and force the shot, but no, Jules will find it in the corner, and he'll clear it as far as Deca. Express will clean this up at the other end, sends it back, looking for the redirect.
Yeah, but every single time we're seeing these cross-pitch passes, Cringe Society are reading them like a book and getting critical intercepts. Demo play, but Spidos misses. Torsos on recovery. He's going to look for his own setup, but Express is there already trying to delay. Spidos keeps the pressure on off the backboard, across the pitch. Jules reads it and actually does crack the defense only momentarily because Torsos was able to rotate back. Spidos shot on target. Express makes the save for now. Drippe loses out in the 1-for-1 versus Express, but Express loses it to Torsos. It was a meatball shot, and Jules just able to catch it.
Yeah, Spidos had an open net there, but Express with a good bump to stop him getting around that one. I was going to say before with Spidos' shot, just a little bit more boost would have given him the opportunity to put a bit more power and put it past the keeper, but instead, GroundZero now have their chance. This will be in the midfield. I believe the Cringe will clean this up, but Jules comes flying through and only puts it straight in front of Spidos.
That was scary. Drippe missing the ball almost cost them that point. However, they were able to stop it momentarily. Express taking it straight down the middle is getting that pressure on Jules. What can he do? He has boost, but he slows the ball down, and Drippe is able to read and stop the attack for now. Spidos taking it himself. He's going to try to play the corner. Deca beats him out, but cannot beat past the second member. Shot on target from Torsos. Jules the save for now. Dunk attempt actually does go GroundZero's way. Spidos, though, doesn't have the boost, and I have to admit, Cringe Society, they're spending so much boost in trying to slow down GroundZero, they're not able to keep that offensive pressure on, it seems.
Yeah, not only that, I think a lot of the time when they finally get the ball into GroundZero's half, there's a lot of misses coming out, notably from Spidos as well, and that's just buying all that time for GroundZero to kind of clear it out, get some boosts, and mount their attack once again. I think that's where we see the pressure really starting.
Yes, we're starting to see more and more demos come through from Cringe Society as well, which is something I like to see. Get in your opponent's face, take them out of the game, force your opportunities. However, it will be GroundZero perhaps. Nope, Jules not wanting to because actually goes back. Let's Express be the man who pushes forward, and he's getting it over the top of a couple defenders, but can't get it past that third man. Jules, though, keeping GroundZero on the orange side of the pitch. Deca with the setup. He gets demoed forward, and Drippe should be able to make the clear. It's actually a great pass to Torsos, but no boost to fall through. It doesn't matter because the shot was on target, and Cringe Society take the first goal.
Yeah, you take those Torsos, maybe just trying to clear it, puts it on target anyway, and GroundZero not really respecting that. And not in the position to save it. Instead, Cringe Society take a goal lead with 1:23 on the clock. I mean, if it took that long to find the first goal, it could be that one seals it.
Yeah, but Jules has boost, he has possession, and he has a net in front of him. He's going to play it off the backboard, but defense does enough to get it over the top of Express. Deca, his opportunity to set up his team, but Express is still racing to get to the opposite side of the pitch, and he will not find the time to do so. Spydosh goes up, but Jules goes up higher, gets a nice little dunk before losing it back. Express with the follow-through off of the backboard. Good read by Drippe. Deca now throwing it to Jules. He'll take the shot, but Torsos is able to make the save.
GroundZero still not finding a goal for their efforts, and Express here just buying a bit of time for his team to get boost. Now Deca's got it in the corner, shot, it's good, and it beats the defender from Cringe Society, finds it from the corner. What an angle.
What an angle, and what an individual play by Deca as well. He set it up himself, he plays it out of the corner himself, and even though Torsos was there, that shot just came a little bit too fast. I mean, that was like an 85-degree angle coming at over 100 kilometers per hour. I don't care how good you are, that's going to be a tough one to save.
Yeah, that's difficult to shoot as well, and I think Cringe Society were probably expecting the pass there, almost getting the second goal there, and the shot comes in, and it's good from Jules. That's 2-1 to GroundZero, and they finally take a lead in the series.
Yeah, it only took him about 15 seconds. Again, Deca playing through in the corner, but Jules will take the shot down the middle. Cringe Society went low, the shot went high, and GroundZero have their first lead in game number 3. They just need to hold on for 34 seconds, and we've got ourselves a proper semifinal series.
Yeah, and a good kickoff here from GroundZero. Express comes through and puts it good. I believe that's GroundZero taking game number 3 here. They got a 2-goal insurance. Surely that's enough with 30 seconds on the clock, right?
Yeah, Jules with the dunk sets up Express, and you can see Cringe Society, they were setting themselves up to attack fast and attack hard. However, by losing that 50, GroundZero was able to find that goal, and I'm with you on this. I think GroundZero may have just iced the game off of that goal.
Yeah, although Torsos out of it. Yeah, the pass from Torsos is good.
Oh boy.
It's at a 1-goal deficit, 20 seconds to go. Could we see an overtime in game number 3?
Oh my goodness, Cringe Society. They're saying, yeah, we can do kickoff goals as well, but when we do it, it's off of bump plays as they find that one right there. A nice little high five with Drippe and Torsos, that team synergy after the goal. You love to see it. Game 3 right now, 20 seconds remaining. Cringe Society need to find a goal, but they are on the back foot as the kickoff went GroundZero's way. Spydosh launches himself well over the ball as Deca will keep the pressure on. Express actually puts another shot on target, and it's going to find its way into the net. So just when you thought the comeback was there, GroundZero says, nah, not today.
Yeah, Cringe Society looking for that 3rd goal, trying to tie up the game, so a lot of them are pushed up. GroundZero just find the space and counter it, and an easy shot from Express is enough to clinch them game number 3, even though they probably should have clinched it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, it made us a bit nervous as Torsos, oh my gosh,
oh, no.
The delay play making people miss off of the top crossbar and in. Just when you think you can rest easy, Torsos says, no, I am a mechanic god.
Oh man, the flick was good, and gets the rebound off the crossbar there, puts it in 4 seconds in this kickoff. Could we see it? This would be amazing.
Oh my goodness, kickoff goes in favor of Society, but Deca catches it in the corner, and Jules, playing it safe, gets the demo saying no, no Drippe, not allowed. GroundZero take game 3.
Yeah, they can finally breathe a sigh of relief after that. They played a great game, but near the end, getting very dicey. I think Cringe Society were just relentless in trying to fight back into that one, but instead it's 2-1 to Cringe going into game number 4. I liked how GroundZero looked this game.
I liked how they looked as well. However, if that game taught us anything, it's how hard it actually is to beat Cringe Society when they are on form. 8 seconds doesn't matter. 2-goal deficit, yeah, we're still going to fight. We still have Torsos. He's still going to make an amazing play, and it's a bit unfortunate that maybe that highlight might get lost just because the game didn't go the Cringe Society's way, but that 8-second to 4-second goal was one of the best I have seen.
Yeah, that was fantastic, especially for a solo play coming up from Torsos. And the kickoff was good. They faked it out. They won their possession off of that and then just converted it all by himself into the net. And what a great play from Cringe Society. That's why you just can't count them out. I mean, I kind of did myself and they proved me wrong instantly.
Yep, guilty as well. 8 seconds, 2-goal lead. Can you really blame us? But Torsos, I mean, he's made a believer out of me in the past, and he kind of did so again. But the story should be on GroundZero because they are the winners of that game. And it feels like they did it by finally starting to adapt and really attacking every single one of those mid-pitch misses, which, again, are kind of plaguing the Cringe Society. Some of these passes in mid-pitch, they're not the cleanest.
Yeah, definitely. I think GroundZero finally tightened up in the attack as well. Those passes finding their mark instead of mishitting it. I mean, we saw the one from Express in Game 2 in that overtime that really cost them that game. And now they're trying to fight back in the series. And I think they're doing so with some really clean passing plays in the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. However, Cringe Society, they will be the first team to try and set up a sustained attack. Jules, it's on him to break the rotations, but Drippe, with a bit of a dunk, they'll stop things for now. Torsos doesn't get his car on the ball, however, so Drippe rotating back is going to be the one who sets it up for Spydosh. We'll try and take it to the corner. Jules steps up, but the pass is still good. Torsos off of the backboard. He was going for the waterfall setup. It's not going to connect, and here comes the counterattack from Jules. Drippe does just enough to make the save.
Yeah, great save from Drippe. They are not easy, very uncomfortable save to make, and manages to get enough to put over the bar, but Jules comes through with a pass from Express and says that save doesn't matter because it's 1-0 GroundZero.
What a mental game from GroundZero. Their past 3 shots that have been good have gone high when Cringe Society has gone low, but this time it's the other way around. Jules puts it low right under the defender, and GroundZero take the first goal in game number 4.
Yeah, not only that, the pass kind of bouncing it down off the ground to put it up for Jules, and I think the player in net, I can't remember who it was, just wasn't reading it at all, thinking that Jules was just going to smack it straight at him up in the air, maybe top of the goal, but instead knocks it down himself and gets it under. And what a great play from GroundZero, and that's what you need to score against Cringe Society. Nothing short of great play.
Yeah, nothing short right there. However, Express, he misses, and here comes a Cringe Society counterattack. Torsos has space. Drippe waiting for the pass, but it's not the cleanest one in the world. Deca did disrupt it. It's a second attempt now for Cringe Society. Jules goes up for the intercept. He has so much space. Only one bit of boost isn't enough. Not quite, because Drippe makes the save.
Yeah, got the flip and had to use it instantly just to keep that shot on, but didn't have the boost to kind of follow it up, and instead it becomes an easy save for Cringe Society, and now they take it back the other way, but nothing really dangerous coming out of that attack, and so it's just back into their half, and GroundZero looking for the pass.
Yeah, GroundZero, they're looking for the pass, but Cringe Society, they're looking to break that offense, and they have done just that. Drippe, great pass if someone was there. Unfortunately, Torsos a bit too far back, so Deca now, it's up to him to try and push it past mid-pitch, unable to get it past Drippe, who sets it up with a nice pinch off of the wall, but Jules gets there first. Torsos going to do the same thing, this time for Spydosh, shot off of the backboard. Deca does get there. Drippe does read the defensive play, however, it's going to throw it right back to Torsos. Great intercept by Express, and the defense from GroundZero, they've done such a great job in learning how Cringe Society attacks and adapting to it, at least until Spydosh goes for the solo play. Clutch save by Express. Next shot by Torsos. Express again, keeping that ball out of the goal.
Yeah, Express keeping his team with the lead there. What a save. Some great shots coming out of Cringe Society. Spydosh notably, sorry. And then that final shot, Express just comes flying across, reads it perfectly, and he needed to. Any mistake there, and that's a goal.
Any mistake, but none are to be had. GroundZero, they are fighting back into this series. They are looking to equalize everything up here in game number 4 as Jules trying to set up Deca. It's a good pass. It's off the backboard. The next shot is true from Express, and 2-0 for GroundZero.
Yeah, I said in the first couple games that GroundZero not really looking like a full team on the attack, and there you see it there. All 3 players linking up in this play. Jules to Deca, baits out the shot, hitting it against the backboard, baits out the keepers, and then Express has an easy shot down onto goal. That's a 2-goal lead, but don't count out Cringe Society as we learned last game.
I mean, we called Express the ultimate team player before. I think that was the team setting him up for once, and it's great to see a goal coming from one Express, who is looking again for it. A double touch. The shot's not on target. Jules is going to step up, but Torsos does get there first. Fortunately for GroundZero, Deca is there. However, fortunately for Cringe Society, so is Spido. Just a little bit of ping pong right now. Cringe Society, they're 2 goals down, but we were in this situation last game, and they did bring it back. A minute and a half, I still think it's more than enough time.
Yeah, I gotta say, GroundZero playing a bit more defensively, obviously with the 2-goal lead, looking to try and see this one out, but I think the best way to take down Cringe Society is just keep attacking, not give them an opportunity to set up these attacks, because once you give them a little bit of space, that's all they need to bait you out and get an easy shot. So we'll have to see if a minute is enough to find it. Express in the midfield does well to beat Drippe there, and now we see himself in the Cringe Society corner.
Yeah, that we do, but Drippe still is able to dribble and dunk his way through. Past that mid-pitch, Spidos with the shot, doesn't like his angle, instead takes it to the corner. He's going to try and set up his team. That will be Drippe with the pass to Torsos, who can't quite get there in time. Express actually has a chance to counterattack right now. Deca will be the first one to get to the ball. Does he get the pass? Not quite, as Spidos is able to get there first. A nice demo from Deca, though, does mean the GroundZero attack can't continue, and Express will find yet another goal. 3-0 for GroundZero. That might ice it.
Yeah, I've got to say, GroundZero playing an excellent game here, not only in attack, but defense as well. Hasn't conceded a single goal, and Express just putting them all in now. I think he's given up on being the playmaker. He wants to score himself.
Yeah, he may have heard, you know, some of that pre-game discussion thinking, look, I got clutch playmaker of award, you know, that nice little accolade. I'm going to show you all that, yes, I am clutch. This is the new Express. This is the GroundZero Express, and you better recognize. Cringe Society, though, they're not done yet. Shot on target from Spidos. Jules is able to make the save. Torsos was going to go for it. It looked like he actually got bumped 12 seconds ago. This one is done. We might see a goal in these final 10 seconds just to add some stats. However, GroundZero from 2-0 down to 2-2 tied. This team is back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they definitely are. You see it there, closing it out 3-0 in game number 4. We're tied up in this series, and I think that's got to be GroundZero just winning out in the boost department. They were just constantly stealing the boost from Cringe Society. Meant that as soon as the attack was over, there was no real threat from Cringe Society in the counter. I think that's what really hurt them in the first 2 games. And I mean, if you starve them out of the boost, then you can bring all 3 players up, and we saw them do that.
Yeah, and that was really reflective whenever the Cringe Society were able to get those attacks through. You would see the setup there, but you'd look down and be like, oh, only 9 boost. Can't make something of that. All right, let's try and corner it. Let's try and get our offensive rotation going. But the other thing GroundZero was doing so well was finding those gaps in the rotation, getting those counterattacks, and enabling themselves to get their own offensive pressure down. Like, this GroundZero team has adapted, and they're starting to perform. And this is why they're that #1 seed. This is also why this series is so close, because, I mean, we're essentially at best of 3 time now, right? There's plenty of time for Cringe Society to go like, okay, this isn't working. Let's make our own little adjustments.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in the first couple of games, GroundZero was only really getting goals because Cringe Society was making mistakes and let them, they kind of just left the door open for them to kind of find their way back in. But these last few games, Cringe Society haven't made that many mistakes. It's just been GroundZero really forcing it out, all of them linking up in these passing plays, forcing the keeper's save and putting it past them, and then finally getting that easy shot and that easy net. And it's really worked out for them. And not only that, it's just when you're forcing them out like that, it means that all that boost is gone. So no counterattack to be had. And a 3-0 in game number 4 is looking very good going into game number 5.
Yeah, it's looking very, very exciting. We might be getting our big game 7 to start off the day. One could only hope, as Deca off of the backboard looking to set up Jules, who does take the shot, but Spidos was there, and that will be enough for a clear, one would think, out of the Cringe Society. Spidos again is going to try to take the ball, but Deca's going to push forward, giving his opponents no space. Double commit from Cringe Society to try and break the ranks, but Express goes high enough to keep that pressure on, and we are seeing GroundZero almost adapting the Cringe Society playstyle right now and just not letting that ball get past that mid-pitch. Waterfall set up, caught and read by Spidos now, who will look to press it himself, but you can see Express steps forward, Jules steps forward, but Cringe Society does enough to try and make the miss. Demo from Express, Jules with the flick. Next touch, not quite there, as a sweeping save came from, I believe that was Spidos.
Yeah, what a save there needed to be done, because Jules absolutely baited out the keeper with that flick and almost found it off the post, but Instead, it got saved out, keeping this game scoreless with a minute off the clock, and now they're mounting up another attack. It's just relentless now from GroundZero.
Yeah, it has been relentless, sort of that reversal of roles right here. However, I did kind of allude to it at the start. Cringe Society, they can play defense. They can look comfortable in these types of situations. They just kind of have to adjust their mindset for it. And so far in Game 5, it looks like they may have done just that, because while GroundZero has been keeping this attack, Cringe Society's defense has been holding strong.
Yeah, look at that. Jules just winning out in the midfield battle here, and all of that pressure that was starting to mount from Cringe Society. They had the boost to kind of attack there, but just one clearance in the midfield means they've all got to use it to get back and help out that player that kind of lost the ball.
Jules flick shot, it's good because Deca can follow through and assist his teammate. GroundZero again find the first goal of the game.
Oh, Jules doing everything in attack here, just constantly getting these flicks on Cringe Society, baiting them out, and Deca gets an easy shot to put that in. Great rotation for him to be there for Jules to back him up, and that's a 1-goal lead to GroundZero. 2 minutes off the clock, and the kickoff goes their way as well. Could we see the second goal? No, Deca pulls up.
Yeah, actually GroundZero kind of falling back, and that surprises me a little bit, but it could pay off as Jules, again, from that mid-pitch, that's where they're looking to set up their plays. Cringe Society, they're playing so far back in their own quarter of the map right now. It's almost a bit surprising as Drippe gets totally juked out as Jules will find that second goal.
GroundZero playing with immense pace here. Not a single chance for Cringe Society to really catch a breath, figure out what's actually going on, as Express just passes it straight to Jules, who puts that in. That's a 2-goal lead now. Looking again like they're in their Game 4 form. Cringe Society haven't scored a goal in a while.
I mean, that's just such a tough situation for Drippe to be in as well. Getting attacked in that 2v1, he has to commit to one side, and the pass was good from GroundZero, so they do find that goal. And GroundZero, yet again, similar, as you mentioned, to Game 4, they're off to just such a fast start. This attack, these offensive passes have been so clean, and Cringe Society's defense, it looked like they may have had the answer at the start of this Game 5, but they're starting to fall apart yet again.
Yeah, we see a nice little demo there, and it works out.
Oh my goodness, Jules yet again.
Jules being an absolute monster in attack. Like the demo keeper, and then on his way back, decides to put it in. Oh man, just showing why he was the golden striker. Not only did they have some pop-off games, but that man there just really shows up when it counts.
Yeah, and 3-0 for GroundZero. Game 5. Looking to be going to the blue side, like 3-0, just like, you know, their past 3 games, perhaps, as they look to be winning them 1, 2, and 3, and that will put them at match point. Cringe Society, this is just a bit of a surprise for them because they looked so good in games 1 and 2, and they were looking like that confident team, that team that was expecting this to be their tournament. However, GroundZero, maybe a little taste of reality saying, you can't look too far ahead, you still got to beat us.
Yeah, and look at this, just not letting them out of even their box, let alone their half. Just constantly putting the ball from side to side, baiting out all that boost, taking away the corner boost. Finally, they catch a break with Spidosh, but he can't do anything against Jules in net, and it's looking like this is just going to get sent back the other way with a good clearance from Deca.
Yeah, that will be enough to slow the pace down for now. Express will go up for it as Spidos actually misses. It does mean Torsos is trying to rotate back. With that, left himself exposed. Deca tried to capitalize, but won't find that shot to hit the target. Jules now going to go up. Do we see the ceiling pinch? He went for it, but didn't quite have the speed to get there.
Yeah, instead gets knocked down to Express, who didn't really have the momentum to put anything on that. Instead just kind of buys time for his teammates there to get in position, get some boost, and start to mount the attack one more time. Only a minute left on the clock. I mean, we counted them out in game number 3. We said they only had a few moments to score these goals, but game number 5 is a different story.
Yeah, okay, so that goal, it might look like the defense completely broke down from Cringe Society, but that's just a case of all hands on deck, everyone attack, kind of like a hockey power play right there. That's what leaves the goal that open. Cringe Society recognizing how desperate the situation is. With that goal, though, you have to think that definitely will ice this one. 4 goals in 45 seconds. It would take a miracle, or perhaps 3 or 4, for Cringe Society to get this.
Yeah, the mentality's got to be so down for Cringe Society now. I mean, he went up 2-0 in the series. Now it's looking like GroundZero's going to go 3-2. And in the last 10 minutes, last 2 games, they haven't scored a single goal. So they've really got to change something up. This might be their goal for... Oh, sorry, this is the wrong side of the net. Why would they be in GroundZero's half? They haven't been there all game.
Look, you know, sometimes you just really want to score a goal, really want to score a point, just pop it in your own net in garbage time and feel good about yourself. However, 10 seconds remaining. Cringe Society, they're going to drop game number 5, and this is a team that's supposed to be good on the counterattacks. They have a roster that you know is capable of doing just that. I think it's going to be time to see that moving forward as the ball does finally touch the ground. GroundZero, match point going into game number 6.
Yeah, and I can't really see a way that GroundZero drop this final game. I mean, they got to really be making mistakes if Cringe Society want to fight back in this one, because I think both teams are playing really well. I think Cringe Society obviously under par compared to GroundZero, as you see in the last 2 score lines, but it's mainly because GroundZero is just forcing them in their half. They can't get it out of there and they can't move on.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it before in between our last games with that mid-boost control. Cringe Society, they just haven't been able to get the momentum off their counterattacks, and it's just been so easy, it feels like, for GroundZero to turn it right back around and keep their own offensive pressure on. And this has turned into from the, you know, games 1 and 2 where how Cringe Society likes to play. Well, now we're in that feast or famine mode where GroundZero, they open up the floodgates and they just start scoring goal after goal after goal after goal. And this is such a momentum-heavy team, GroundZero. I mean, they now have the momentum on their side. And Cringe Society, I do feel like they have the talent to respond to this. They know how to counterattack. They have Spidoj on their team. He's great at these types of situations, but now, as Yummy Cheeseman said before, no more excuses. This is the playoffs. This is where it all counts. It is now time to act because it is match point against the Cringe Society.
Yeah, the only place where I can see they can kind of attack GroundZero is in that midfield battle. They're really losing out on a lot of those 50-50s, and that's just forcing them on the back foot time and time again. Start to win some of those, start to get in GroundZero's half, and I think you'll get a lot of breathing room, not only chances on GroundZero's net, but you'll also stop them from being in your side of the field, and that's really what needs to happen.
That was such a good kickoff for GroundZero as well. The ball delivered right into Express's lap, and that's how come you're seeing this attack right now from GroundZero. Express, open net, but Jules will steal the goal away, and that is 1-0 for GroundZero.
Yeah, Express taking the playmaker again because Jules decides that he wants to put that one in. He's the golden striker. He's saying, you're not getting in this match. Jules been playing exceptional, and I mean, he gets a little reward there. May have stolen it away, but a great kickoff from GroundZero nets them an early lead in game number 6, and I may remind you, they're on match point right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As I feel like it's been the past 4 games, actually. Past like 5. I don't know the exact total. Either way, GroundZero, they've been getting that opening goal, it feels like, time and time again. And Cringe Society, they've been struggling in these past recent games to even get 1 point on the board, it feels like, as GroundZero. Now they are a bit on the defensive side. Drippe with boost, with possession, finally has something to work with right here, but Jules is able to challenge and win that 50-50. Express, though, doesn't get that fall-through touch he was looking for. It does force Deca to go up high. However, he does miss it. Torsos can pass it to Drippe, but he was retreating, not ready to catch that pass, and now GroundZero will counterattack straight down the middle. Spidoj does enough to make the save.
Yeah, the first prolonged play from Cringe Society we've seen in a while, and it looked good, but a little miss from Torsos near the end. Couldn't find the pass. Spidoj gets a shot on target there, but there's a keeper in net. Drippe's shot saved by Deca once again, and they stay 1-0 in the lead in this almost final game if it carries on this way.
That was a missile from Drippe as well, so kudos to Deca for making that save. However, they're not out of danger yet. Torsos going to try and go high, try and play it off the roof, but Deca makes the read. Jules, nice little touch, gets it past Drippe. Deca now will look to follow through, passes it up to Jules, who's going to escort this down into the box. Shot from Express is good, and it is 2-0 for GroundZero.
Yeah, what a pass from Jules here. Just follows this up, manages to correct himself in the air there. He saw the flips and turns and boosts, lands perfectly under the ball to pass that down to Express. I can't tell you how insane that actually was to control himself there and get in the right position, and then put the pass perfectly onto Express. 2-goal lead now to GroundZero. Cringe Society need to find something sooner, or it's going to be over for them.
Woohoo! Express almost doing it himself. Instead tries to drop it into Jules' hands, who actually does lose possession. And here comes that counterattack from Cringe Society that was missing. Drippe gets one on the board.
Yeah, GroundZero thinking that they were going to close the game out there and then, but instead mishits that shot. I believe it was Express near the end. got an extra touch when he was trying to put it in, and it made it go the other way and helped Cringe Society out by just clearing it himself.
And that was that counterattack. That was the element of the game from Cringe Society that had been missing in our past few games. Spidosh going for a bit of a solo play, can't get that last pick. Jules actually passing it down to Deca, but the ball bounces a little bit too high. Either way, though, Cringe Society defense, they are missing it here and there. Spidosh has to make a pretty last-second save. Good bump from Torsos to get Express off the ball. It does force Jules to use boost to try and keep some semblance of pressure. That is GroundZero right now. They're blowing that boost, so Cringe Society is going to be a bit patient until they look to counterattack. Spidosh might be able to do it here, but he doesn't get the ground pin she was looking for.
Yeah, looking like a midfield battle at the moment. Neither team really getting a good possession or attack going. Spidosh will miss out to an awkward bounce off the wall there. Gets the pass down from Torsos, but instead gets beaten by Jules, none other than Jules. I mean, he's played so well in this series. Who else would it be?
Who else could it be? Ball waterfalling down, yet the shot not quite there. Express able to take possession away as we're actually going for a bit of a slower play right here. Patrick Sand is dripping, saying, no, none of that. I'm going to speed that away, but he almost dropped it in a very scary place as Jules had a chance to make a shot. Torsos gets it under Deca, loses possession, shot by Express again. Unfortunately, the top crossbar will play spoiler for GroundZero as this blue side attack shall continue. Torsos trying to pass it, but Deca reads it, takes a shot, and that is another 2-goal lead for GroundZero.
Yeah, Deca just in the right place there, reads the clearance from Torsos and puts this just past him on the shot there. Just in that bottom corner, needed to be there, or else Torsos would have saved. And I mean, what an angle. We saw him do it earlier in the series, and he's done it once again in game number 6, trying to close this one out without a game number 7.
And I can't blame Cringe Society for trying to rely on defensive passes. That's how they scored their 1 goal in this game. However, GroundZero has been able to read the past 3 or 4 of those and get those intercepts and keep this offensive pressure, that time finding a goal. It feels like everything Cringe Society tries to do, GroundZero has had that answer, and that is why they are looking to possibly take this match in about 1 minute and 16 seconds. Now, Cringe Society, we saw him get a couple last-minute goals before, and Jules almost lets that one by him. Deca, fortunately, there to make the save.
Yeah, played so well all series, but makes the mistake that almost cost his team the lead. I mean, there would have only been 1 goal insurance, and that should be easy enough, but Cringe Society keep this attack going, all of this pressure coming from that mistake, and just can't really find that shot on target. Those GroundZero just bullying them out of their own half.
Yet Torsos was just literally getting bumped by all 3 sides right there, as everyone from GroundZero did not want that superstar playmaker to make some of those superstar plays. However, Cringe Society, they are still desperate. They are still trying to find that goal. Fido, shot on target, great read, great save by Deca. 30 seconds remaining. Can Cringe Society find that goal? You have to feel they need to get it on this attack. Fido goes for the double touch. Deca reads it off the backboard, and he gets that big clear.
Oh, so close to finding it there. Instead, Spidosh went for the bounce shot instead of just powering it down, and may have cost him the whole series here as it comes into 10 seconds left. 2-goal lead to GroundZero. They could close it out with a game in hand.
Yeah, it looks to be the case as with 2 seconds remaining, Jules gets 1 more shot on target, won't find the net, but it is all good as GroundZero, our #1 seed, will advance to the winner's final.
Yeah, we'll see them next weekend, and Cringe Society are going to have to play another game today against the loser of the next match. And man, what a series that was. Cringe Society starting so strong, and then GroundZero just switched it on almost out of nowhere. So I got to say, I'll have to give it back to Smite and Yummy to really break that down, because that was insane.
Look, thanks, Watson. And man, what a series. I mean, I don't think we could have asked for anything more. GroundZero absolutely popping off. Yummy, before we get into MVP, because I think everyone knows who that's going to be, let's break the series down because it started off so well for Cringe Society. You're going to have to unmute yourself there, mate. I know you love to talk.
It was a crazy repeat of history. We saw a sort of reverse sweep again. We in league play, Cringe Society went up 2 games, and then all of a sudden we see that completely turn on its head. 4 games in a row this time instead of 3. But you know, I think you're right in terms of Cringe Society. Game 1, I've always criticized them for having slow starts, but GroundZero to me were not having a great start at all. I mean, they almost missed the first kickoff.
I mean, once GroundZero started to turn on, though, they switched on. They looked like a completely different team, and just like, to put it in simple terms, they went Super Saiyan. It was incredible. They looked like an insane team, but one player stood out above the rest, and he's the MVP for me. But I want to get your opinion on it, of course. Jules. I mean, what a god this series.
Jules, he didn't make a single mistake until the last game where he completely whiffed a ball. It almost ended up being a goal, but he was 100% the MVP. Every single touch he made, it felt like he was taking out at least one player, usually two players. He worked really well in with Theka. I mean, you have to say as well, in terms of MVP performances, all three players from GroundZero do deserve a mention. It was a very big team effort starting from game 3 onwards. But Jules, even when the entire team was popping off, he was the one who looked incredible, slowing the game down, speeding it up, just really controlling play. And I would say the best I've ever seen Jules play in any series, and he has popped off multiple times in his career.
Yeah, and with that, Jules and the rest of GroundZero do get to move along that winner's bracket, and they're going to face the winner of the next series. That's going to be Fury versus Mindfreak. And ladies and gentlemen, that series is going to be coming up after the break, and it's going to be a great one as well. So make sure you stick around, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Return with more Rocket League action here in week number 1 of the Oceanic LPL Pro Rocket League Championship regional playoffs. And we just had, I mean, dare I say it, a kick-ass first series between GroundZero and, you know, making it through all the way, taking out Cringe Society, a team that we hyped up so much. They looked like gods in that series. But Yummy, I think it's time to move on. Let's get to the next series. But before we do that, let's check out the bracket, because we want everyone to know exactly how this is going to work. So as you can see, GroundZero with that win do get to move on to the semifinals. Cringe Society dropping to the losers bracket, and they'll be facing later today the loser between Mindfreak and Fury, which is going to be our match coming up right now.
It's going to be an exciting match too. But Cringe Society, you know, that's tough news for them going down to the lower bracket, because they certainly lost to Mindfreak. When it comes to these two teams, of course, they're the challengers, the guys that haven't been to Worlds before. Most of them haven't been in the top 4 before. A brand new arena for them, and a winner, I guess, up against a GroundZero, who are right now looking like the best team by far.
All right, well, before we get into the match, we're going to be, of course, speaking about the chances of these teams. I mean, we can talk about how they might look against GroundZero and Cringe Society, but right now, it's these two teams playing. So, Yummy, which team do you think is going to be coming out looking stronger? Because it's been a while since we've seen them play each other.
Yeah, it has been a while, but of course, we did see Mindfreak drop 3-0 to Fury during the season, and it was a pretty comfortable win for Fury, because they do have, I guess, very opposing styles. Fury trying to keep the pressure, Mindfreak trying to get a lot of defense and counterattacks. And it felt to me during the season that Fury kind of figured that out. They were able to get past the defense. They never really overcommitted. And that's what gave them the strength. If they can commit to that again today, they probably will take down Mindfreak, despite them being the higher seeded team.
All right, well, let's take a look at the rosters for both teams. We'll start things off with Mindfreak. They started off the season so strong. Ghost, Requiem, and Fever. And this roster, it's just come together so strongly throughout the season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ghost, he was the one who brought this Mindfreak name here last season, and they fell really short. They had high expectations, fell short. Now he's at the top. Requiem is the only team here in this, the only player here in this match who has been in the top 4 before in the regionals, where he was considered a huge underperformer for GroundZero when they came 4th. And Fever, of course, huge first season for him, really popping off, incredible aggressive mechanics as well. And he kind of matches up well with the rookie on the other team, Anthus.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, let's take a look at the roster of Fury. These guys have made splashes in the Oceanic scene. Anthus, Kenny Salmon, and Scarth. A lot of eyes have been on Anthus. Kenny Salmon and Scarth also mainstays of the last few seasons of Rocket League here. So tell me about this roster. What did they do to make it here?
I spoke about Anthus. You know, he's an MVP contender at this point. He's had huge performances. He's involved in 74% of all goals for this team. Incredible attack. But that's also kind of based off Kenny Salmon and Scarth. They like to sit back, try and feed Anthus, give him a lot of space. Kenny Salmon has been in league play before, in fact, with Ghost, his opponent, and hasn't performed up to expectations. And if you look at this team, coming into this season, I didn't really think of them as a top 4 team. They were a team that I said, give them one more season, and then they could be fighting for top 4, top 2 then. But they have exceeded expectations this season. They've done more than I think that they needed to. But if they do more, if they get into that top 3, for a player like Scarth, who's not yet rated highly, a player that hasn't really shown himself big despite having been in league play before, this could be his chance getting into top 3, I think, to say, yeah, I am a great player. I am worthy of being the top.
All right, well, Yummy, we actually did talk to Scarth before the match as well to get his thoughts on the match. So it's interesting because GroundZero was very cool and calm, and they knew what they were doing before the match. But I want to see what Scarth thought about before the match and what his team is feeling going into it.
It means a lot for us to come this far. I know all of us have been chasing this for a while. None of us even made it this far. And for me personally, I've been chasing this for 3 years, so it's really cool to be able to actually show that I can do something if you put a mind to it. Our biggest threat probably would have to be, I'd say, Cringe Society. All the teams, I think, at the top of OCE are really close. And it's really just whoever shows up on the day. But I think that team has the most potential, I guess. Coming into the tournament, we'd beaten 2 of the top teams that were expected to perform really well. So for us as a team, we knew we could make it to the top 4, and that was our goal. But being an underdog in public side has actually been really helpful because it pushes us to prove that we can be at the top, and we're just going to do that.
A huge amount of drive coming out from the captain of Fury there. I mean, he's very keen to prove himself. Just like you were saying, this is his chance, and it's exactly what he wants going into playoffs this season.
Well, he's been working at it for so long. As he said, 3 years. It's the longest of that team. He's the oldest. He's the captain. I think, no matter what he would say as well, he's the player that they'd have to rally around or keep them in those reverse sweeps. Because you have to remember, they only just scraped into top 4. They had 2 reverse sweeps that they had to make to get here. They haven't, in my eyes, still proven that they are a top team. And just like he said, they need to prove that right now. As the underdogs, they can do it. A top 3 performance for them would be huge. It would silence the doubters. And I would say, you know what, next season they're going to do the same.
All right, and we did talk to Ghost from Mindfreak as well. So getting his thoughts on the match coming into it, I mean, Fury, it's clear what they want to do. They want to prove themselves and take out the series. But let's see what Mindfreak are keen to do here and how confident they are.
At the start of the season, we didn't really expect to become the 2nd seed. So for us, it means quite a lot. All 3 teams in the top 4 now, they're all threatening. But I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably say GroundZero is the most threatening team for us. I'm kind of happy that we could verse Fury just because I think we're going to be the most comfortable around them. So at the end of the day, it's not that bad for us. It kind of boosts our confidence just a little bit. So it's all played out well.
So interesting to hear actually that they're very confident coming in against Fury. I mean, they came in as 2nd seed, almost the 1st seed. So you can imagine that they'd be confident coming in against underdogs like Fury.
Oh, of course, they're confident, but they did lose. But for somebody like Ghost, of course, he's been working at it as long, maybe even longer than Scarth, and has had some, I guess, difficulty breaking into the top 4 until now, where he did it pretty cleanly. But it kind of goes back to these teams. They haven't been at the top before. It is a new experience to see how they play under pressure. So it's going to be really hard to actually predict how they end up going in this series it is going to be a complete toss-up for me. I should say Fury did take the 3-0 during the season.
All right, well, we're just about ready to get into the match. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's a winner bracket match. The loser of this match will have to face Cringe Society later today, and that is a scary team to face. So without further ado, let's throw it away to the fantastic gentlemen, Formal and Watson, to take the series all the way.
Thanks, lads. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I mean, game number 1 was the Battle of the Veterans, and now we kind of have the challengers or the rookies coming into this one. And I think, for me, Amphis has looked so good all season. So if we had to put it down to just the rookies on the team, I think they have the edge there. But at the same time, Requiem is the only player that played last season in the playoffs and obviously didn't perform, but has really performed this season. I'm expecting big things from both teams.
Yeah, even if you have experience that may have been short and didn't end the way that you want, experience is still experience. So that edge will be going a bit more to the Mindfreak side as we are about to kick off into our second semi-final match. The blue side sends 2, that's Mindfreak. The orange side sends 1, that's Fury, and that means Fury is going to get that first attack. Amphis, though, losing out on that ensuing 50-50. So something real quick I want to touch on with those interviews, which I kind of find funny. Now, one would think Mindfreak are a bit more the favorites coming into this matchup. If they win, they get to go up against the team that they're kind of scared of going up against, and Fury goes up against the team they're scared of going up against. So I just thought that was funny. I don't know. I pay attention to weird things like that. We have a game of Rocket League in front of us. This really should be taking our attention.
No, I was going to point out the exact same thing. It'll be interesting to see if Mindfreak, whether or not the series goes their way or the other way, and if they feel comfortable going into maybe that loser's bracket against a team that they felt maybe more comfortable. But we see here an early lead from Requiem, the only player to play in playoffs before, snags that early goal from Mindfreak, and it's a 1-0 lead in game number 1.
It was that previous playoff experience that told him to attack at that moment, and Mindfreak will find the first goal of this winner semifinal. Requiem putting that one on the board as we hit our next kickoff. A little change coming from both these teams, but the kickoff goes Fury's way. Ghost has to make that last second save to make this first save, but it isn't enough to really stop Fury for now. It looks like they are able to break the ranks as Amphis actually kind of an awkward stop right there and loses possession of the ball. So Ghost will push forward, keep the attack on. Kenny Stammen will go up, and he's going to put things away. Now, Kenny Stammen in a Fennec, that's actually a bit different from him.
Yeah, we don't really see that from him, but I was going to say, Ghost, that save was very awkward. Hit it against his own post, could have easily bounced in with how awkward the post can be sometimes and how cynical they can be. And yeah, it could have started off this series just like Jules did in his first game in the last series, just putting it in his own net.
Yeah, well, fortunately, that's not going to be the case. No more own goals. We did that. It's done. That was a Series 1 thing. Scarf trying to make something happen, making the defenders miss until Requiem comes sweeping back to make the save. And here comes a Ghost counterattack onto the open net, and Mindfreak find their second in game number 1.
Yeah, it's Ghost and Requiem kind of linking up there. Requiem gets a fantastic pitch there for the clearance, and Ghost is in the perfect position to find that open net. A good counterattack there. Good knowledge from Ghost to kind of have the faith in his teammates to really get that good clearance up to him, because, I mean, if that doesn't happen, then you're a man down in the attack, of the defense, sorry, and that could easily result in conceding a goal.
And really, it also came off of that great setup out of Requiem. It was a defensive setup, but a setup nonetheless. So Mindfreak, in particular, Requiem, looking very strong at the openers of this series. However, we are only 2 minutes in, plenty of time for Fury to sort of calm themselves down a bit, find themselves, because if we're going to be going by momentum, Mindfreak, they look a lot more prepared, a lot more in control of this series.
Yeah, maybe in touch controlling their nerves more than Fury. I mean, they have Ghost and Requiem. Requiem was the one that obviously has the experience playing in this sort of game, but I think Ghost maybe has a bit more calmness to his play. I think a lot of the time, even in matches where they aren't ahead or winning, even last season when they came in last place, he always looked very comfortable in a game, and he never looked like he was panicking or anything. I think the mentality game is really what's going to edge a team ahead in this series.
Stammen, though, trying to set something up, can't get the pass to Scarf. The Amphis tried to squeeze through to keep the attack on, but that also is going to miss. if you're looking at the Fury side as well, I have been noticing more and more sort of mistakes, a couple odd double commits, odd times when pushing. It hasn't quite been there yet. Kenny Salmon going for a bit of that solo play, but it's Scarf who takes the shot, and Fury do find their first goal of the series.
Yeah, maybe mistaken net here, not expecting the shot from Scarf to be on. Requiem, look there, near post. Should have been in the middle of the goal, instead gets beat by Scarf. They kind of have the lead there with that goal, and a minute 50 left on the clock. Just one goal to take us to overtime.
Yeah, exactly that. Still plenty of time, especially when the kickoff goes Fury's way, but goes able to make that save. Kenny Salmon, he's retreating back. He's the only one on defense, but the ball gets delivered right into his lap. He'll try to pass it, but Requiem's able to intercept. This could be a shot set up. Amphis able to make the save before getting demoed, even though he didn't get demoed. You can see, though, that was the play in mind for Mindfreak as Ghost going up, makes a defender miss. It's off the backboard, but they were expecting the double touch, so no one is pushing forward to take that attack. Scarf, his turn now. He'll take it up the corridor. He'll throw it back to Amphis. That's enough of disruption to stop the first shot, but the second shot from Salmon will have to be saved by one Ghost.
Yeah, you saw all three players from Mindfreak sitting in net trying to defend this one-goal lead, but some good passing plays coming up from Fury. I think a lot of the time this season we didn't really see all three players kind of link up in plays. It was more Amphis or a bit of help from either Kenny or Scarf, and to see them link up here in playoffs is actually very surprising and good to see from this team. I mean, if they kind of add that to their arsenal of attack, then they're going to look very dangerous.
Yeah, I am a little worried, though, because it also seems like Mindfreak is playing very conservative with this one-goal lead. Like, they're not attacking. They're not risking breaking the ranks in the defense to kind of add that extra padding to it. And as a result, Fury is being given a lot of space to work with. If this continues, Fury might be able to make that sort of miracle shot. However, Mindfreak's defense, it has been holding thus far, and you know, this could be why I'm maybe a bit more low elo, but I do feel like Fury is going to have that opportunity, and it could come right now. Scarf, shot, goes to the backboard, but Ghost is able to make the play off there. Amphis keeping possession, but doesn't get the pass he's looking for. That was nearly an own goal. Kenny Salmon had to make a bit of a save right there. Mindfreak now with 5 seconds. They have possession. They're on the orange side of the pitch. Here comes the Salmon. He throws it up to Scarf. Last shot opportunity. It goes up. It's still hanging around in a dangerous spot. Fever's going to try and spike, but instead Requiem actually fakes it forward, gets it over the top, and that will be game one for Mindfreak.
Yeah, nice sort of play to kind of just kill the ball at the end there. Fever faking it out and Requiem pumping it down the field. No chance of that 0-second goal coming in from Fury. It was a close game one, but I think Mindfreak really seemed the more collected and calm throughout that game. I think their attacks looked a lot more methodical, and they knew what they were going to do, where kind of Fury was just taking the chances they were given.
The only reason why I'm going to say I'm not 100% convinced that Mindfreak is super calm is just because of how much they're deviating from their normal play style, and they're going back to that conservative play style. Sometimes that can mask that air of calmness, like, oh, they're not being super aggressive, they're playing safe. That obviously means they're calm. Well, it also means that they're really desperate to hold on to that 1 or 2 goal lead, and I'm really nervous about some of the space Fury has been given to react with. That said, Fury, given that space, they couldn't really make it happen. They couldn't break the ranks of the defense. So Mindfreak, maybe they're nervous, maybe they're calm. Who's to say? But what we do know is they are 1 game up, and their conservative play style has paid off for them in game number 1.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. But I've got to say, in terms of Fury, I think Amphis hasn't really shown up. He's an MVP contender and a Golden Striker contender. He was so close to getting it ahead of Jules, and he's shown up time and time again throughout the season. A lot of people say that he's carried this team to be here, and I think if he's not going to show up in a series like this when it really counts in playoffs, then it's really going to hurt Fury, because he's easily their best weapon.
I mean, it could be the year of the Scarf as he's going to put that goal in off of the kickoff. Yeah, I do agree. Where we haven't seen Amphis stepping up yet, Scarf has been, as you can see right here.
Yeah, Ghost just doesn't give the credit to Scarf there. Just kind of disrespects him, thinking he's going to miss it, but instead gets easily beat and leaves the goal wide open. Requiem also losing a 50-50 in the midfield, but kickoff gone their way this time, and a double commit in front of net. Fever needs to find the shot. Finds the pass instead, but Ghost couldn't find the shot. And so they stay with that one goal down against Fury, and now the shot from Requiem's good, but Kenny Salmon will clear that.
Oh, Mindfreak's gonna want that one back. You don't get gifted goals like that too often. A definite unfortunate error coming from the Mindfreak side. Fortunately for them, though, we are still early days in this game, so despite being a goal down, they have plenty of time to work with. As Ghost is going to go ahead and try and set things up. He keeps the ball low, but no one's there to take the shot. Requiem comes late, but doesn't break the defense. Kenny Salmon does enough to make the save for now. Fever keeping the ball in the box. Ghost will take the shot, not on target. Instead, it's going to try to escort the ball to the corner. Scarf unable to disrupt Requiem, who comes barreling on through. In the end, though, the defense continues to hold. Now it's Fever's turn to play setup, but Scarf is going to take it to the other side of the pitch, but that's where Requiem is raiding. Ampus has been demoed. Salmon tries to defend, gets beaten up by Requiem, who gets the equalizer.
Requiem, this is dirty. Just waiting for that demo, gets the flip there, and then just absolutely destroys Kenny in that 50-50. Puts the ball on a plate for himself and takes dessert as well by putting it in the net. That's a 1-all in game number 2 here. I was going to say that Mindfreak looking really good on the attack, but nothing too dangerous, and then Requiem comes out of nowhere with that play.
Sometimes it has to go down to those individual plays, and getting it past Kenny Salmon is no easy task. He has kind of been that defensive rock sometimes for this team, that last man standing, and he's come through more often than not. However, Mindfreak are able to get that one past him to tie up the series, and now Fever, he's looking to take the lead. However, he's not going to find the shot. He'll just have to settle for demoing that other big rookie in Amphis. Scarf looking for the pass to mid-pitch. Fever will go up. Fever has space. Fever has time, and he has boost as well. Finally, Amphis is able to stop that aerial dribble. However, the attack is still on. As you can see, nope, not quite. Fury was actually able to take it back. Amphis with the flick shot goes high. The fall-through shot from Scarf goes high as well. Where is Salmon? He's not there. He's back at mid-pitch.
No, Amphis, this is what I talked about. It's such a good player throughout league play, and then in a series where it matters, it's not really showing up. His flip not good. 10 times out of 10 during league play, he would have scored that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a rookie, and, you know, you hate to use the rookie word, but sometimes those kind of nerves. This is the biggest stage. This is the biggest game he has probably played in his career. In fact, no, I can say it definitely is. It's the biggest game for all of these players almost in their career, and you can see, you know, nerves are kind of altering decisions, making the odd unforced error here and there, and again, the team that has that better mental is more likely to come out on top, and so far, it has been Mindfreak.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Requiem, probably more than most here, is just really stepping up. Constant great mechanics in the defense as well as the offense we saw with that goal, and really keeping his team in this one. I think without him, it would be the other way. I think Ghost and Fever have showed moments, but a lot of whiffs and a lot of mistakes coming out from them. I want to see them tighten them up, and Mindfreak will be head and shoulders above Fury in the series.
Well, that's a good path from Kenny to Scarth. Requiem has the boost to go up and slow the attack down, at least for now. Fever catching it. Amphis overcommits a little bit, so Fever can get over the top. Scarth had the next attempt because Kenny Salmon did get demoed. Fever now has time and space to work with that last bit of boost. He uses it to get the bump as Ghost takes the shot and somehow is unable to connect. Here comes the counterattack. Amphis, he has the open net. He'll put it in and Fury take the lead.
What an insane 10 seconds. A great play from Fever, and Ghost makes an awful mistake in front of net, doesn't get the easy goal, and instead it goes the other way, and Amphis not going to miss that one. Learns from his mistakes and puts Fury with the 1-goal lead.
He made Requiem miss while doing it as well, and that could be the wake-up call that Amphis needs, that momentum boost. They're 1 goal up with just under a minute and a half to go, but Mindfreak is on the attack, at least so Kenny Salmon tries to disrupt. Ghost will be able to keep some semblance of pressure on. Who's going to step forward? Fever a bit late to the ball right there, so Fury is able to push semi-deep, but that is a big clear, and that's one that you want to see. Kenny Salmon, he's going to try to do it himself, gets the pass down to Scarth, who does get it over Fever. Shot opportunity, but Scarth doesn't get the flick he was looking for.
Yeah, all 3 players in Mindfreak playing very defensive. They need to kind of push up if they want to find that second goal, take this to overtime, but not going to do that from their own side of the half, as we see Fury now having space to play with it. A lot of the time you do see Kenny and Scarth really give a lot of space and resources to Amphis to try and make those plays, and I think if Mindfreak let them have that space, then Amphis is going to run away with this game.
Yeah, that could be the direction this series takes. However, that's an open net shot from Scarth in mid-pitch. Where was the defense?
I couldn't tell you. I'm a bit shocked as much as you are. I think Fever's pushing up. They're all pushing up. The clearance was not good. Straight at Scarf, and it means that Mindfreak, although they were searching for that equalizer, end up being 2 goals down.
Yeah, it was a case of Mindfreak. They were trying to play the alleyways, hoping maybe for a pass, but because the clear went straight down the middle, that's the easiest goal Fury is probably going to get all series. 22 seconds, 2-goal difference. Yes, Mindfreak is on the attack, but they need to score right now, and already they're letting that ball go too far, I feel like, into their own territory. Good little gunplay by Scarf. Nearly finds the goal. Scarf's going to keep the ball in the box. Memphis doesn't want to take the shot, however. He'll play defensively as the timer will count down to that big 1 second. No, doesn't touch. Amphis almost owned goals, but it's okay. The game was over anyways, and that is Fury equalizing the series at 1 apiece.
Yeah, bringing it back and looking pretty comfortable too. Mindfreak panicking, if I might say so. I mean, we picked up that they seemed calm in that first game, but maybe, Fury are getting a hold of their nerves and coming strong in this game number 2. It was still close. I think both teams showed some real promise in that game, but Fury just edging ahead.
Yeah, and both of their goals really came off of errors from Mindfreak, like the notable goals, I should say. Mindfreak, and again, this is why after game 1, I was like, I'm still not convinced their mental's entirely in this one. And those unforced errors, they came back to bite them in game number 2. And unforced errors, giving up goals, is exactly what you never want to do, because all of a sudden it gives your opponents that confidence, like, oh, these guys are shaky. They're not all there. We can counterattack. We can score. Amphis getting that counterattack play, getting that goal. He is now back in this game and back in the series, and that is not where Mindfreak wants him to be.
Yeah, 100%. You let Amphis get back into this game. I mean, he could have been down with a few missed shots here and there, but when you give him an open net and so much space to play with, he's just going to get that easy goal, get the confidence rolling, and who knows, he could start picking it up more and more, and it's just going to get more destructive from him as the series goes on, I believe. But Mindfreak, yeah, they had those mistakes, but also it was a lot of mistakes in front of net. You saw Ghost's easy shot that could have netted them the equalizer, but instead went the other way. And it's things like that that's really going to edge a team ahead in this series.
Yeah, as we have already into game number 3 right now. The kickoffs seem to go Fury's favor, but Mindfreak ready on defense. No kickoff goal this time. We can all rest easily, at least for the moment, as Kenny Salmon actually doesn't have that good read. Scarf's going to go ahead and call him up. It's a pass to Amphis, who pushed the shot back into the box, but Scarf unable to fall through just yet. Salmon going to keep the pressure there. As you can see, Fever now with position himself. He's been kind of quiet so far this series. Good demo play leads to an open net, but Fever can't escort it in, and it's another open net miss for Mindfreak.
Yeah, just didn't have the boost to get around it. Didn't realize his shot wasn't on until the last second and tried to correct himself. But yeah, didn't have the boost in the tank to do so. And so stays scoreless with almost a minute off the clock. And Mindfreak are looking good, but it's those mistakes again that are really costing them.
Yeah, these little mistakes, just not being able to capitalize on the opportunities given to them, have kind of held Mindfreak back in this one. Fury going to go up. Kenny Salmon actually does a good job to take it away from Fever, but Requiem will still be able to follow through Amphis. That's a great clear, actually. Scarf just able to get there. Sorry, Ghost just able to get there, as Scarf now will look to follow through. Fever with possession, going to play it in the corridor, as both teams just trying to break rotation at this site, but it does feel like Mindfreak is inching ever closer to that goal.
Yeah, it's slowly but surely buying a bit of ground with every attack, but Fury just constantly clearing it and making them have to restart every single time. You see a good passing play here from Kenny, but Fever reading it off the wall. Then misses it himself, tries to bring it infield, has help with Ghost to win that 50-50, but goes to the hands of Kenny Salmon, who will take this up with the Fury charge.
Yeah, and here comes Requiem now to try and set up off the backboard. Good job by the defense momentarily. Scarth able to follow through off of Amphis' setup. Salmon, the third man's going to take us to the box. Requiem, great save, actually, as the bump from Ghost might actually stop this attack right now. Requiem, he's able to flick it over one, but cannot get it past Amphis, who's going to throw it right back to Salmon. That was a great little steal. Amphis now has the shot, but Ghost does enough to make the save.
Mindfreak not on the same page there. You saw Requiem doing well to kind of beat one player out and win that 50-50. All they needed was a player to kind of wait for that ball to pop up and get it in the middle, but instead just lets Fury take it. Can't give him too much space there, because you see what Amphis can do with it. And even Kenny Salmon's been playing well with some space and boost in his tank.
Yeah, Kenny Salmon's playing a Kenny Salmon game. He always will be that third man, the one just being that last line of defense. Amphis thinks he has time, but doesn't know Fever's right behind him. He's going to bump him, but Amphis still makes it work. Requiem having to push forward in order to make that save. That could have been dicey.
Yeah, almost taking out all 3 players with that play there, but couldn't get that final flick over Requiem. Instead, it was an easy save, and Kenny Salmon will collect this now, try and find the corner, maybe get a good little pass, but Requiem completely reads the book that Kenny Salmon is writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Scarth is the one who's going to try to punch it through, but Fever's able to get up high. Salmon waiting on defense. Demo onto Ghost means it is only a 2-man attack, and Requiem still going to go for it, pushing through the corner, but that ball's going way too high. Awkward double commit, as Salmon actually kind of bumped Amphis right there. Scarth, I should say, Amphis got Demo. Doesn't matter. Ghost gets the goal.
Good team goal by Mindfreak here. You saw the Demo come through. That double commit really cost him, but Ghost almost missed his shot, just gets it under the bar. That's good for confidence. If he had missed that, he would have been down in the dumps for sure.
It's the goal that Mindfreak needed. They want to get back into this game, and it's these demo plays that they're starting to go for that I think might be that answer shot. Oh, just a little bit wide to the right. However, Fever is unable actually to get the ball past one Scarth now, who has some space, has some possession. The only thing he doesn't have is boost, so he'll flick it up to Kenny Salmon. Double touch, no! He isn't able to get that last little spike.
Oh, just one little millisecond of boost left, and he could have got onto that, but barely inches away from getting that double touch. Instead, it's still a 1-goal lead to Mindfreak, but a double commit in the corner. I was about to say Fury mounting their attack with Amphis, but Kenny Salmon kind of misplays it there by helping out Amphis instead of giving him space, and now another double commit in defense. They're really starting to crack.
Amphis, the last man in the goal, will make the save, but absolutely, we're seeing some breakdown, it almost feels like, in communication coming from the Fury side. Some odd double commits, a lot of them involving Kenny Salmon, man. In this case, ball off the backboard, Amphis is going to catch it as Salmon does get demoed, but the ball gets over the top of Fever. Unfortunately, with that demo, it does mean Fury won't be able to get that attack. And only 33 seconds remaining. They need to find this goal. They need to find it now. Opportunity for Scarth, but he can't find the shot.
Yeah, they can't be making mistakes like that, especially when they're searching for this equalizer. All 3 of them push up and there's a mistake, then it's easily going to be a 2-goal lead, and it's going to be too hard to find game number 3 here. But Scott finds it. Kenny Salmon with the 50-50 manages to power through and get that goal. 16 seconds left on the clock. We could see overtime in game number 3.
Yeah, Requiem had the best chance to make the read, but he went way too low, unfortunately, and they're trying to put Fever in that awkward spot. Salmon doing just enough to help ensure that goal. In 15 seconds, you have to think next goal is going to win this game, and it is Fury off of that kickoff looking for an Amphis. He has space to work with, gets it past Requiem, the ball will slow roll right into Ghost, but Scarth will be able to bounce it back. Ghost pops it up, so Kenny can't take the shot initially. He's still going to go for the dunk. He's able to get it back over the top. It's off of that corner, still in the air. Who's going to step forward for the shot? Scarth goes up, keeps it up for now. Where's Fury? They're not pushing forward, and we have overtime.
Yeah, I think Requiem let it drop there, decided for the reset as his team was panicking a little bit there, especially in the last 30 seconds. But we see a bad kickoff from Mindfreak here, leaving the net open as I believe it was Ghost just didn't take the ball with him.
Yeah, but Ghost will go ahead and get that demo onto Salmon, so this could be an opportunity. Ball is in a dangerous spot. Kenny Salmon did get back onto the pitch, though, and gets that sweeping clear. Ghost now with possession has to beat out Scarth. It does so quite easily, but Salmon does enough to disrupt, and here comes Amphis pushing on through. Ball out of the corner. It's a good setup for Scarth, who can't find the angle on the shot. Fever now. He's going to look for that counterattack. Requiem was pushing down the corridor, but Amphis was there. Fever straight down the middle with his shot, caught by the likes of Fury, and now here comes Amphis over the top. Requiem makes the save. Scarth now opportunity, not quite. Fever plays the back.
What a shot from Amphis there, almost winning the game. Forced the save from 2, but no one really to back him up. Find that easy net with both keepers committing themselves, and it tries to go the other way, but every time Mindfreak really try to take the ball up, it just seems like they're not on the same page on these attacks. They're panicking.
Yeah, there's been a lot of odd double commits and feeling like panicky plays coming from both teams in this one. I do believe the team that calms themselves down first will probably win this series, as once again a demo coming from Mindfreak. However, they're a little bit slow in getting a play off the back end of it, so we're not going to see a sustained attack just yet. Nice touch right there by, I believe that was Scarth, to keep the pressure on. Kenny Salmon going to look for the bump. Amphis trying to throw things back. Here comes Scarth pressing forward. One more touch, not on target. Requiem trying to make the save. Here comes Amphis, but Requiem keeps it up in the air. Scarth now keeping the pressure on. It's going to be a play off of the backboard. Who's going to take the shot? It's Amphis, but the save is made by Requiem. Salmon, open net. There's the goal, and Fury takes the lead in this series.
Mindfreak just couldn't clear it. They just had to get it out of their half. Requiem with a fantastic squishy save there, going around the the goal, and then Kenny Salmon, just reading where that clearance is going to be, puts himself in a position, dunks it on down, and gives Fury the game lead here in game number 3, 2-1 to Fury.
It was just too much of a relentless attack in that overtime, it feels like, for Mindfreak to be able to handle. They never got that big defensive clear that they desperately needed, and it just kept feeling like the ball was being hand-delivered right into Fury's hands to keep the attack going. Kaboom, 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 and finally it's the year of the Salmon that goes kabam and takes that game.
Yeah, it was just mistakes coming out from both teams. You could see the nerves really getting to them. I mean, I think Requiem was the only one I could pick out that just seemed collected, and every time he was on the ball, he was beating 1 or 2, but his teammates just not there to really back him up with some solid shots. I think Ghost missed a few open nets, did net one himself just as it just went under the bar, but yeah, really real panicky play coming out from, I would say, 5 out of the 6 players on the field.
Yeah, it felt like that. I mean, you have to look to the team captains really to try and get their teams back under control at this stage. In particular, I'm looking at Fury and I'm looking at Scarth. He is the team captain. He's been playing the longest. He knows that opportunities like this don't come every day, but you also need to recognize it's just a game of Rocket League. Keep yourself calm. Keep everyone calm. No more double commits. Let's just play the game like how we always play it. It's just another game, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you saw in the player interviews that Scarth has been kind of fighting for this for a while now, and it's finally happening for him. So maybe those nerves are getting to him. But yeah, as you said, he's the team captain. He's really got to help his teammates get in the right mindset here and say, hey, it's just another game of Rocket League. We've played 1 million of these, if not billions, with the amount of hours these players have. We can do this. Just a couple more games, and they could see themselves in that winner's bracket.
Yeah, they could see themselves in the winner's final, and as Yummy was pointing out before, that's a top 3 finish for Fury. That's something that would be so huge for the squad, and they have the lead in the series to do it. Mindfreak, on the other hand, well, you need to stop making plays like that. As Fever completely whips the ball in the air. Fortunately, Ghost should be there to finally get that push forward, but it buys Salmon more than enough time to make the read, and he'll punch it right back to the Mindfreak side. Yeah, it's just slower plays. Salmon, again, missed it, but that's okay. Follow through is there for Scarth. Salmon able to recover, at least for now. Fever going to try to push forward as we hear those angry cats. I love the angry cats.
I absolutely hate it. We couldn't be more in disagreement on that one. I had it on for 1 game and I immediately took it off. It is the worst sound in this game. But Kenny Salmon seems to love it as well. He shares your passion of the sound and has kept it throughout the season. Mindfreak been on the back foot for probably the first minute of this game, and Fury not really found a good opportunity, but just kind of bait them out, making them use their resources, seeing where their opportunities lie, and then maybe that's where they look to bounce.
Yeah, that could be the case right now. Fever is going to try to make it himself, but Amphis does enough to get a big sweeping clear. Requiem has the height, though, to stop Amphis from following through. And now Ghost an opportunity. He's going to put the shot on target. Salmon makes the first save, but can he make the second? Fever going for the double touch, unable to spike it down, as I do believe Salmon was in the way yet again. Great defensive effort from the Cat Car.
Yeah, great defense from Kenny Salmon there. Needed to be up to challenge that in the air. If he let it come towards net, then Fever was going to put it past him 9 times out of 10. So a great defensive play coming out of Fury there, but also a fantastic offensive play coming out of Mindfreak. You saw it there, forcing a few good saves. And a couple more of that, all it takes is that 1 mistake, and we've seen plenty of those in the series so far. 1 mistake's going to net you a 1-goal lead.
Requiem gets it over the top of Amphis, but the shot's not on target. Neither is the follow-through from Fever. Scarth now with possession. He has boost to work with as well, because he played that so patiently, but he still is going to lose the ball out to Ghost. Pushing it forward, Fever has a chance. Only Salmon on defense. Ball does not get over the Salmon man, as he does enough to make the save. However, that was a bit of an awkward miss by Scarth. He does have a second attempt on it, and now we'll push it forward, but Requiem had time to make that sweeping save.
One thing I want to know is at the start of the season, Mindfreak was often this 2-man team with a backup bouncer in the net and Fever, and it was Ghost and Requiem linking up time and time again, and I would like to see them maybe result back to that playstyle, because it works so well for them. Requiem and Ghost just link up perfectly, and when Fever was playing that defensive style, it seemed to work. Now we see Fever being a bit more aggressive, which is better to see from him. He looks like a better player individually, but as a team, they look almost a little weaker, and their chances on net are almost always getting hit into the post. Scarth almost dunks down on Ghost there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if their playstyle does change throughout the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I do remember back when they were known as La France Cosplay, it really was, you know, Ghost and Requiem working together with Fever, occasionally making those solo plays to punch them through. But now as Mindfreak, their style has changed a little bit. That they're still looking for those opportunities, just not many coming to them in game number 4 at this stage. Requiem is going to go up for it. Going to look for maybe that last flick. Unfortunately, he doped it. I thought that was going to land in Kenny Salmon's lap, but somehow everyone from Fury missed it, and another missed opportunity for Mindfreak. Ghost now has a chance. He's going to escort that ball right into Scarth, who will make the save.
Yeah, Fury now, though, with the flip. Jumps off the ceiling, does flip it down, tries to get it under Kenny, doesn't do it. Good read from Kenny Salmon, playing a very good defensive game. So far, Requiem trying to get there. Musty flick under them, but couldn't quite find it. Now we go the other way.
Yeah, now we go the other way as Fury did hold off a rather large Mindfreak attack right there. Scarth now with possession is able to dodge out Ghost, but not Requiem, who's actually going to be turning that into attack. Kenny Salmon going to do what he can, working with the demo coming from Scarth, but Fever still has possession. It's off the backboard. Requiem gets the shot, but somehow Scarth is able to rotate around and make that save. Fever, another opportunity, gets past Salmon, but cannot get it past Scarth yet again. Amphis now, he might be the one who follows through. He has boost, he has space. Ghost is able to make that save, but Scarth is still in that corner. Fever will take it over the top. 10 seconds to go. Still 0-0. We might have our overtime unless Mindfreak can make the goal happen now. Fever throws it up. Ghost will get there. He's not going to get the shot, however, as Salmon is able to make the save, and we have overtime.
Mindfreak almost clinching at the end there with Ghost, but good defensive play from Fury once again. Throughout this series, they've just looked so solid in defense and keeping Mindfreak up, and you're seeing it here, a scoreless game in game number 4, both teams playing at their peak, I believe.
Yeah, this has definitely been the game with the least unforced errors, I have to feel, and as a result, it is our game that goes to overtime at 0-0. Neither side able to find that shot just yet. Leading into this one right now, Kenny Salmon's putting it up. Who's going to go up for it? Well, Salmon's going to go up for it again, as the rest of his team did seem to have the boost right there. You can see the Amphis scrambling for it on the side, and now Mindfreak's going to look to counterattack. Amphis, the man on defense, does wrestle control away in that corner. Ghost on the back foot. Will he make the read? No, because Fever will step up, but Fever does get beat. Ball in his shooting position. Scarth takes the shot, and Scarth takes the goal.
Amphis, you absolute monster, puts his team on the back here, wins that 50-50, wins that 50-50, sets it up for Scarth, who almost misses it, puts it in the path of Requiem, but does just enough to put it in and net their team a 2-game lead in this series, putting themselves on match point heading into game number 5.
And Team Fury match point. Some people consider them maybe a bit of an underdog, like they were the team that you would think would be less proven. They're now sitting at match point. They are 1 game away from that top 3 finish, maybe even a grand final finish if they can carry that momentum. But either way, they're 1 game away from, you know, day 2 or week 2 in this instance. And for this Fury side, you've got to be feeling good, but there's still 1 more cliff to climb.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we saw in the player interviews at the start that Scott said the one team that they feel the least confident against is Cringe Society. So to dodge that bullet and maybe try your chances in that winners final against GroundZero could be what they're aiming to do here. And it could net them a chance at making the final as top seed if they win that winners final. But first, they got to take down Mindfreak. And I think it was a very close game. Mindfreak could have easily have pinched that one with just 1 goal. So definitely not out of this yet.
Yeah, absolutely is the case, but although it was close, it did feel like Fury was more frequently on the attack, Mindfreak more often on that defensive fronting. And even when Mindfreak had that sustained attack, those shots were really good, but Fury's defense was holding their own, somewhat surprisingly so at times, because there were still, you know, your odd double commit here and there. Furthermore, there were some open net opportunities for Mindfreak that they just weren't able to capitalize on, and those are the ones that haunt your dreams. Those are the ones that make you hesitate when you have that next opportunity. Fever, though, he wants this opening opportunity, ball in front of the goal, but Fever is unable to recover and wrap back around. Amphis now, he has a chance off of the backboard, but the defense does enough to make the save.
That is probably the most intense 20 seconds of Rocket League I've ever seen at the start of the game. Back, end-to-end stuff, almost both teams scoring an early goal there, neither really finding it. Instead, we carry on in this game. They'll always be seeing Kenny Salmon come through, but gets blocked by Fever at the moment that it counts and gets a demo on the way out, so only 2 players trying to clear this up.
Yeah, only 2 players on defense, although they have recovered now. Requiem's going to throw it to that opposite corner. He might even look to follow through, but Scarth is there. Fever going to instead take that ball. A big booming clear straight down the middle. Kenny, the man all the way back, is going to have to do what he can. Unfortunately, drops it right into Requiem, but does adjust and does a bit of a recovery right now, pushing forward. That's a shot, but it's not on target. The follow through is going to get demoed. Scarth cannot find the goal, and a missed opportunity from Fury might get capitalized on. Fever, one man to beat. Shoots down Ampus by not pushing forward just yet. Ball bounce back, but no one's there to take the next shot.
This game is so intense. I can't believe Scott didn't put that open net and hits the post, and then the other way, Fever faked him out, but faked out himself, put himself in a position where he could have put it on net. Kenny Salmon tries to force it through. Requiem forces the save. Amphis putting this into the corner. Scarth will collect it, try and find a teammate, but Ghost with a good clearance will send us back to midfield, and we start again.
We start again. This game coming at you fast and furious so far. So many individual plays as Requiem is going to try to do what he can down the middle, but it's stolen away by Fury, who again have opportunity to set something up with Boost to work with. Kenny hits it way too hard and goes flying off the ball. Scarth is going to get bumped off it as well. Kenny, though, uses that boost to recover, to wrap around, gets it past one defender. Fever, that last man cannot beat the Salmon Man, and that is 1-0 for Fury.
It looked like Requiem's bind just melted in the corner here, just stopped moving, and then Kenny Salmon makes a play. I'm as surprised as everyone else, kind of forces his way through there, beats 2, and puts his team in a lead.
Fury 3 minutes away from getting themselves into that top 3. Amphis trying to do what he can, but can't quite get that ball in the goal just yet. Kenny Salmon will go up for it, gets one more bump on the ball, but with no boost, it should mean Mindfreak should be able to make the defensive play. You can see Salmon, though, he's going for the bumps, going for the demos, and no one from Mindfreak pushed out to try and get the clear, so the attack will continue, and Scarf will capitalize. 2-0 for Fury.
Mindfreak are just scrambling now. Fury really relentless on this attack. You saw Kenny Salmon in that first play just doing it all by himself. Here, sets up his team, then gets the demo and the bumps, or at least giving enough pressure for his team to just get that easy open net. Scott doesn't miss that one this time.
No, he does not, and now 2 goals down. Mindfreak backs against the wall. They're going to have to dig deep within themselves to bring not only this game, but this series back. Fever, he's going to start with the demo. Setups there, but you can see there's enough defense to make the save for now. Ghost, waterfall set up, but he doesn't get the shot he is looking for. Kenny Salmon now is going to try and push it forward himself. It's a pass to Amphis. They're going for the pass clears, but Fever's able to read it. Or is he? Because his own pass is intercepted by Scarth. Amphis, Requiem going up. Requiem wins the 50.
Yeah, Mindfreak really needed to challenge some of these air dribbles coming out from Fury. They give them so much space, and it just forces a lot of players to commit themselves and put themselves out of the play. So to get up early like Requiem just did there is really what they need to do to kind of find their way back in this series and this game. As Fury's on match point with a 2-goal lead. They're looking to close it out game number 5.
That they are, and with under 2 minutes to go, that could very well be the case. Once again, Mindfreak, they're on their defensive side of the pitch, and Amphis is not letting them get any easy clear. Requiem tries to go up high, but no, Scarth is there this time. This Fury attack has been so devastating. Pass from Salmon, not going to connect onto Amphis, and now all of a sudden Scarth has to go racing back on defense, but he is able to slow Ghost down enough for Kenny Salmon to recover. Scarth now has space to work with, but it's actually going to be a Salmon pass to Amphis off the backboard. Requiem's going to stop the shot, at least for now, as everyone on Fury, again, rotating back to their own defensive side of the pitch.
Fury a minute away now from making their way into that winner's final. At least the third place finish, but Fury has a shot, gets blocked. Requiem dunks it down. A minute left, 1 goal in this to keep Mindfreak's playoffs hopes alive without going down into that lower final against a team like Cringe Society that a lot of people are nervous to play against.
Amphis can only do so much on defense right there. He did make that one amazing save, and unfortunately Salmon couldn't recover out of the back of the goal to make the second. So Fury, 1 minute, 1 goal ahead. Can they get their top 3? Can they advance to that winner's final? Mindfreak backs against the wall. They need 1 goal. Go! Shot on target. Salmon is there despite the double commit on defense. It is a pass up to Amphis, who will try and play it out of the corner. But, oh, Requiem, he went for a cheeky shot, but he did miss completely. So now it's only 2 members trying to stop a counterattack. Ghost is able to do just that. In the corner, that's where Fury is. Scarth with possession had to give it up to Kenny Salmon, who with no boost can't push it forward. The attack, it will continue for Mindfreak.
Requiem finds the equalizer with 25 seconds left. A great pass here from Ghost off the wall, knows where his teammate is. And look at that, Fury just scrambling in the defense there. All three of them just, they don't know what to do. I mean, I'm lost for words. They're probably lost for words as well, as Mindfreak tied up in game number 5.
Mindfreak get it done with under a minute to go. 2 goals down, they tie us up, and they're in position to possibly get that leading goal. The shot from Fever is good, and Mindfreak, they're taking victory right out of the grasp of defeat.
Where has this been all series? Mindfreak turned it on at the very last moment. A minute ago, they were down 2 goals. They're now up 3-2 and looking to keep this series alive, keep their hopes to go into that winner's final, that top 3 finish indefinitely. And oh man, what a game this has been, a series as well.
Yeah, but there are still 10 seconds, and that is Fury with possession of the ball. Salmon, though, doesn't have the boost to hold on, so we're going back to the orange side. We're going back to the double touch as Ghost ices this one. 4 goals in under a minute is how Mindfreak takes game 5.
That's the nail in the coffin. Ghost, time and time again, was missing his shots, but comes up clutch here to seal this game number 5 with a double touch. A great mechanical play coming out from Ghost there. Looking like he's back into form. He's gotten over his nerves from the first few games. And Mindfreak take game number 5. It's now 3-2 in this best of 7 as we move into game 6.
What a comeback from Mindfreak. 4 goals in under a minute. That's how they get back into this game. That's how they get back into the series when everything was looking so dire. They wake up literally in the last possible minute to keep the series alive. So kudos to Mindfreak. I was, getting ready. All right, Fury's looking good. Who's going to be the MVP? Who's going to be that stand-up player? Mindfreak's like, hold up. We still have Rocket League to play.
Yeah, they definitely do. At least one more game here, possibly going to the game number 7 if Mindfreak carry on this momentum that they showed in that last minute. Fantastic play from them. I mean, they looked like that game number 1 again. Maybe those nerves finally, they're getting over those nerves, and I think Ghost notably picked it up in those last few moments, Fever as well, and Requiem's been solid this whole series.
Yeah, I mean, Fury was kind of making the same mistakes that they had been making that all game with like the odd double commit here and there. And then all of a sudden, Ghost was, when you make one man miss in a double commit, well, really, you're making 2 people miss. And that just happened like 3 times in a row. It's just boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, hey, look, Mindfreak, they're back in this. They take that game. And it was looking dire. They're back in this. And going into game number 6, I feel like it can go either way because it's not going to take much, I feel like, for Fury to regain that composure, regain that sort of dominance that we've seen. But Mindfreak, the momentum could be on their side. 4 goals in 1 minute, that will wake you up. That will get your heart pounding.
Yeah, and any of those kind of nerves and your head dropping when you miss all those shots and could have got the lead there. Fever misses that shot. I almost thought that was in. Requiem comes through with the save from Scarf. We'll keep it 0-0 in game number 6. Now Amphis trying to take this one up, but Fever will collect it on the wall, puts it as far as Kenny Salmon, puts it over the net. No one really following up. A double commit coming up. Mindfreak will help him as Amphis comes through, snatches it from the midfield to net his team a 1-goal lead in game number 6.
Yeah, as we take a look right here, that was just a really bad clear from Requiem. No better way to put it. And Amphis able to jump on that, punch that ball right in. And it looked like Mindfreak was going to be picking up right where they left off in game number 5. However, Fever couldn't connect on that goal. And instead, it's Fury with that 1-goal lead. And we've seen the song and dance. Salmon, he doesn't have the boost to get that next touch. Amphis still keeping it in a dangerous spot. And Scarf will punch it right back in for the 2nd goal in game number 6.
Yeah, almost feels like that last minute of game number 5 has just been totally erased as Fury come firing out of the gates here. Some early aggression nets them 2-goal lead in game number 6. Still trying to put this to rest without going to that game number 7.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the case as Ghost. He's going back for the demo plays, but credit where credit is due for Fury. They've actually responded to the demos quite well. Despite Mindfreak getting a majority of them, they haven't really been able to capitalize just yet. Scarth has boost. He doesn't have enough for the double touch, especially with Requiem stopping the ball from even getting to the backboard. Fever now with control. He has enough for one last play. He does make a defender miss. Ball in a dangerous spot, but Amphis will go up to clear it out.
Yeah, I think one thing to note is Fury really showing why they're here in finals, in playoffs. I mean, a lot of people had their doubts and thought that maybe Renegade should be in, but they beat them in league play, and they're showing that they are a team that should be top 4, should be top 3 with the way they're playing. A 3-goal lead here. Game number 6 could net them that top 3 finish.
I don't know how you can watch that goal and not have a smile on your face. Amphis with the bump, forcing the double commit as people at Mindfreak just clean themselves up to open that net. Well, I suppose you won't have a smile on your face if you're currently rooting for Mindfreak or a part of that team. However, Fury, that was fantastic. That is a 3-0 lead. One more than in game number 5, and maybe 3 is the lucky number for this orange side.
Well, Mindfreak scored 4 last time, so it might not be. We'll have to see if they can switch it on. They got 3 minutes this time, and they're going to have to score 4 as Fury net that one in. Kenny Salmon finding it from the midfield.
Exactly. Mindfreak scored 4 last time. Well, Fury thinking we'll score 4 this time. Open net for Salmon to capitalize on right there as Mindfreak, they were thinking attack. They're thinking desperate mode right now at this stage. And Fury punishing them for that. A 4-0 lead. 3 minutes, 20 seconds ago. We've seen Mindfreak get 4 goals in 1 minute, however, so we are not writing them off yet.
Yeah, definitely don't write them off, but I gotta say, Kenny Salmon has stepped up the most for me in this series. All 3 of the players from Fury are playing well, obviously. I mean, look at the lead they've mounted for themselves, but Kenny Salmon, time and time again, in net, stopping Mindfreak from scoring, has just really put the mental game in their favor as Mindfreak feel like they can not score it. That last game didn't score for a whole 4 minutes and they kind of switched it on the end, and now not scoring this whole game in game number 6. And yeah, for me, Kenny Salmon's been there at the back and also scoring for himself or setting up Scarth and Anthus.
Look, there are people out there on that big old Twitterverse at the start of the season that made some bold claims saying things like, you know what, this could be the year of the Salmon. This could be the year of Kenny's breaking out. And I'm not going to name names who it was, but you can kind of guess this. I am feeling a little proud of my own Twitter account right now. It is great to see. However, Mindfreak, though, we're not writing them off. Kenny Salmon, he hasn't had the best season per se, but he is starting to show up now where it may matter most. Repium, though, he's not giving up. He's setting up plays. He's bumping defenders out of the way. Ghost now going to try to play it out at the corner. Who's going to take the shot? Fever goes up for it, but the defense from Fury is still holding strong.
Yeah, Requiem and Ghost there, Fever just kind of keeping it in the corner, not really getting a good pass in field, and Requiem was looking for the bumps and demos, but it's not really going to count if you can't get the ball in front of the net.
No, it's not in this case as the time continues to dwindle away. The pressure continues to mount for Mindfreak. Ghost tries to set it up but can't get it past Amphis. However, Fever has a chance to redirect, but Kenny Salmon's already there. Doesn't matter. Fever's making defenders miss, but no one's there to follow through with the shot. Ghost has to fall back. Goes for a long, long distance. One Scarth able to make that read. There were 2 defenders in the box, so would have been a tough ask either way as Fury, they're falling back. They're playing more defensive at this stage, but that's okay. They just don't need to break. It's a bend. Do not break, and they are bending, and they are holding.
Yeah, looking like Fury might see this one out. I mean, we're coming to this minute mark. Is this where Mindfreak switches it on? A shot here from Fever. 3 and net to push this one out. Now Amphis has a counterattack, takes it to the corner, buys a lot of time for his team just to see this game out. But the shot here from Scar makes it 5. A minute to go. I don't believe Mindfreak have been some 5-5.
Look, it's all about one-upping your previous performances, right? Mindfreak, they did 4 last game. Well, now they got to do 5 this game. Fury has laid down that gauntlet, although I do have to agree, it is looking incredibly unlikely that Mindfreak will be able to bring this one back as Fury just has to hold on for 1 more minute. In fact, they could be looking for some more as well. Repium, that only man on defense right there as Amphis goes for a long aerial dribble. Kenny Salmon going to be pushing forward at this stage. No one there to take the shot just yet. Pace slowing down a little bit. 40 seconds remaining. I don't think we're going to see 5 goals. Fans of Fury, start to celebrate. You're probably headed to that winner's final.
Yeah, Fury taking at least a top 3 finish here. And this means that Mindfreak going to have to go up against Cringe Society in that final match of the day to decide who continues on and doesn't get sent home in the first day of these playoffs. And I think a lot of teams were kind of scared of Cringe Society going into this, so not a position you want to be.
Well, you know, maybe we're speaking too soon. You know, what's better than 4 goals in 1 minute, 5 goals in 30 seconds? We did see one right there. It's actually a great setup from Requiem. Fever able to capitalize to get Mindfreak 1 point on the board. But we're not getting that kickoff goal is pretty much going to do it as another goal for the Salmon as Kenny Salmon finds yet another in this game. That's a 6 in 15 seconds. Do we dare see a Brazil scoreline in the semifinals?
Yeah, what a way to kind of close it out. Do a Brazil in the same way that Brazil scoreline happened in the semifinals would be a way to do it. Game number 6 has looked all Fury's way. They had a bit of a hiccup in the middle here, but other than that, they have looked so dominant in this series and looking good to take their chances against GroundZero. I mean, they said that Cringe was the one they felt less confident about. Well, now you have your chance at GroundZero.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at it from that aspect, each of these teams are going to be getting that matchup they want. However, only Fury is going to be having it in the setting that they want. You know, Mindfreak would much rather take who they see as that tougher opponent if it does mean a winner's final. That said, Fury do take this series 4-2 in Game 6 in emphatic fashion. Fury looking super strong. They got to feel good, man. Well, now we won't get to see them until next week.
Yeah, sadly we won't get to see Fury again until next week, but it does mean that Mindfreak going to find themselves up against Cringe Society in that losers final up next after a bit of short break. But I'm going to have to pass it over to Smite and Yummy to kind of break down all that action.
Thanks, Watson. And man, what a series to watch, and what a victory for Fury. Yummy, is it fair that we stop calling these guys the underdogs now? Because they have just shown time and time again they can take these top guys down.
You have to, and as well, when they started playing their game plan, they looked really good. I mean, you saw at the start, game one, that Fury looked really panicky. They were double committing inexplicably. There was no real reason. You can double commit sometimes in defense, and that happens, but they were just doing it all the time. But as soon as they played like it was league play again, when they calmed down, put the pressure on, followed each other up, hit that backboard over and over again, that's when they started looking like a great team that I think just knew how to beat Mindfreak. Is that enough to beat Cringe Society or GroundZero? We'll have to find out, but definitely against Mindfreak, it didn't really feel like they were ever going to fall behind.
And now one thing I want to touch on, because we want to link the individual performances to the teams, and first thing, I want to eliminate one player from MVP. And that is Amphis. And because Amphis normally looks like, I mean, it's harsh, but Amphis has looked like a star throughout league play. And that's what we said before the series came up. This is Fury and what they look like when Amphis isn't even playing at his best. So what do they look like?
I think that's great. Right, that his two teammates really stepped up. I mean, we've talked about it too much, maybe, that Amphis dragged them into the top four. Well, Amphis didn't have the best performance. He had some good moments, especially towards the end of the series. He really started stepping it up. But throughout the early half of that series, Scarth and Kenny Salmon having big performances, really showing, I guess, their veterancy, considering Amphis is in his rookie season.
All right, well, now we've got to go to MVP. So for us, it's between Scarth and Kenny Salmon, and both had crazy good performances. So that is a tight call to make. And you're going to have to make it, Yummy. Who is it?
Yeah, I'm going to make it. It was really close, but in the end, I gave it to Scarth. He was involved in more than half of the total goals. He scored more than half the total goals for his team. He was involved in almost 3/4 of them. Massive performance from a guy who I felt wasn't quite performing up to his standard throughout league play. He'd certainly stepped up from last season, but needed that edge. And if he continues to play the way he did today, he is going to be scary throughout the rest of the finals and in future seasons too.
And you've got to imagine after that interview, he's got to be stoked now to crack the top 3 with his team. So next week, they'll be playing GroundZero in the winners bracket final. But Yummy, later today, we've got our third match. And that is going to be between the two losers. It's going to be Mindfreak versus Cringe Society. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a bit of an extended break because we've got to give Mindfreak a little bit of time to recover, be ready for the series. So go away, make your lunch, pour a tall glass of Barocca, and be back in about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, and we'll be back with more Rocket League and the losers bracket match. One more series remains between these two teams that are about to play. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and Rocket League fans, to the LPL Pro Rocket League Oceanic Championship here in week 1 of the playoffs. Like I said, one match to go. It's the losers bracket match, and it's going to decide who's going to be going home. But Yummy, let's recap what we saw today. First up, we had a 4-2 win by GroundZero, taking out Cringe Society, sending them down to the lower bracket. And then, of course, we just saw Fury get a big win against Mindfreak, also 4-2. So now our match gets to be Cringe Society versus Mindfreak.
Both strong matches and both strong losses as well. Cringe Society, they were actually playing well, but just not good enough to take on the absolute might of GroundZero. And for Mindfreak, it felt like Fury has their number, but they weren't necessarily playing awfully. So this is going to be an interesting match because Cringe Society versus Mindfreak in league play, well, we got to remember, Mindfreak took that one out.
Yeah, and that was a very exciting match to watch as well. But now that we jump into it, let's just talk about this one, because remember, this is now the one where we get veterans versus some of the challengers in this match. So, Yummy, your thoughts on that? Do these challengers look like they can take it to the veterans? Can Mindfreak do it?
Again, Mindfreak, they took him down in league play, and they are a team that came in second seed. So you realistically have to say that they're able to, but then you're up against somebody like Torsos, the previous champion or the reigning champion of OCE. You've got Drippe, who also is a champion alongside of them, and Spy Doge, who defeated the likes of Billy or Requiem last season to make it 2 worlds. So there is so many bones to pick, especially for Requiem and for the likes of Ghost as well, to prove themselves up against Cringe Society. And even though they took the victory in league play, I feel like in our previous 2 series, Cringe Society have played better and, most importantly, kind of done what Fury did and didn't overcommit, which is the real way to beat Mindfreak at their own game.
Okay, well, you mentioned a few of the players' names, so let's look at both rosters in detail because, like you said, there are some crazy, scary players. Torsos, Spydoge, and Drippe. We talked about these guys before, just previous Worlds players, previous champions. I mean, what more could you ask for in a roster?
I don't even know, because you have Spydoge, who, is that new guy, the guy that is adding into a top 4 world champion team in terms of Torsos and Drippe season 6 coming 4th place. Add Spydoge, you think, oh, maybe he's not up to the task. Well, in game 1 today, he scored a hat trick. He's been so instrumental in their attack as the season goes later on, and he's been scoring a lot of goals, getting in position. I feel like he's really started to find his place in this team, and now all they need to do is be able to execute.
Well, now that they're on their perhaps final match, it's do or die, and it's going to be against Mindfreak, and so their roster of Ghost, Requiem, and Fever, they've just fallen to Fury. Mm-hmm. They didn't look so crash hot in the later end of the series. Is there hope for them to come in and take it out in the lower bracket?
It's definitely a tough loss for them, and I think they gave a lot of control away, and they're going to do the same. And this is the same for most teams. They're going to give away a lot of control to Cringe Society. I think against Cringe Society is actually a bit more advantage there. Cringe Society are used to having control, and they're more likely to overcommit, to go too hard, and that's when the counterattacks from Mindfreak come in. That's where we might see Requiem really pop off, because he did have a great series early on. I mean, of all the players on that team, he was the one who was calm. He was the one scoring goals every single game, but it just didn't feel all there as a team.
Okay, now you mentioned calm, and I think that's really important because now this match, perhaps the most pressure of all of them today, because whoever loses here, they get eliminated, they go out 4th, and they don't get to compete to go all the way to the top. So you look at both sides and you see Cringe Society, yeah, these guys have been in high pressure situations before. Mindfreak, though, I mean, we've seen what they look like in the winners bracket, and even then the pressure looked like it was getting to them. Do you think they can get it done here?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The pressure here is so much more than earlier on. Both these teams, or neither of these teams, would be even okay or not devastated by getting knocked out here. Mindfreak obviously expecting to be beating Fury in the upper bracket. Cringe Society expecting to win the entire thing. So coming 4th would be disaster. Absolute catastrophic failure for them. And that is going to be, I guess, the highest amount of pressure when it comes to Mindfreak and the way that they've played all season. They've been all about defense. You can see it in their stats. They've held the line. They've had the least shots taken against them, even against the top 4, but they haven't taken many shots themselves either. And that can be trouble when you're in these pressure situations. It's always more nerve-wracking being on defense.
And it certainly felt like it in this series against Fury. They were struggling to connect and just finalize some of these goals against them. And, well, it really bit them in the end because they just, simply enough, couldn't get enough points to overtake some of the huge margins that Fury managed to get. So with that said, look, Mindfreak, you've got to say it's a bit dicey for them, but Cringe Society certainly looking like perhaps the favorites coming in here simply from a pressure standpoint. But Yummy, before we jump into the match, any final thoughts, any maybe predictions about what we might see?
I think we're going to have to put it down to Cringe Society. They've been here before. They've never been in this lower bracket. I will have to say that they've never failed so early on, or at least Torsos and Drippe have never fallen so early on. And even Spidoge last season didn't fall this early on. But you got to put it to them. They're going to play under pressure. They're probably going to play their best. So I'm going to give them a slight edge.
All right, well, that's about it. That's all we have to say before the match. So Watson and Formal, you've got one more series to take us through. So lads, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, boys. And we're getting into the do-or-die match at the end of the day here. Mindfreak taking on Cringe Society. Yummy gave it to Cringe Society. I think I'm going to have to say the same. What are your thoughts going into this match? And he's forgotten to unmute his mic, so I guess we're going to have to let him know.
Everyone gets one. But yeah, no, I had to have a cringy moment before saying Cringe Society is going to take it. It's all planned, all up here. Cringe Society, I'm kind of in agreement right now. I think they are the stronger team on paper, but you have to play the games, all right? And a lot of people would have said Fury is probably that stronger team, and, well, we're already onto the pitch. The kickoff already did go down, and that opening kickoff is actually kind of a pretty even one.
Yeah, kind of stayed in the middle a little bit there. Spidoge getting the best of it there, but ends up resulting in a bit of Mindfreak pressure here with an early attack, but only one player really up attacking there, so back to this midfield battle for both teams.
Yeah, it is a bit of a mid-pitch showdown, something that Mindfreak, they're pretty used to. When you go having the least shots on and least shots taken against, that's usually symbolic of a lot of mid-pitch play. But Cringe Society, eventually they're going to start looking to set up this attack as Torsos will be leading that charge. Great pass to Drippe, and goal number one, it goes to the Society.
Yeah, here's Cringe Society at their best. Torsos just doing bits in the corner, gets the pass off to Drippe, beats Requiem, and seals themselves an early lead. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and that is a small worrying side, I feel like, for Mindfreak, because Cringe Society, again, they like to play aggressive. They want to keep you on your back wheels, and already we're seeing Cringe Society, not only can they get Mindfreak there, but they can capitalize quickly. However, that was a long shot from Ghost. The fall through from Ghost as well is good, and we are tied at one apiece.
Torsos inches away from getting the save, goes for the squishy save around the net, gets the contact, but not enough power to keep it up. Ghost's shot is good, and they even it up with only 15 seconds between the goals.
Yeah, this means we are shaping up for a real explosive final game already. Torsos is going to have possession out of the kickoff, looking to try and flick it over the top of Requiem. Does enough for Spidos to connect on the ball through that shot! Woo-hoo! That angle was pure filth.
This is disgusting from Spidos. The double touch all the way in the corner to find that angle. This is why they're a super team. That's the player that everyone kind of had the questions about. Everyone knows Torsos and Drippe's ability. Spidos also has it, showing why he's the best team. He even tries to get a kick-off goal, but denied by Drippe. Man, what a play.
Oh my, yeah, that goal, probably the goal of the afternoon so far, yet Mindfreak, they're still in it. As you saw off that kickoff, they nearly got one right back off of Fever. However, Cringe Society, they're once again on that attack. Spidos has boost and space to work with, makes one defender miss, doesn't go for the second double touch because Drippe is there, and it is 3-1 for Cringe Society.
They're playing with style out here, Max. You see Spidos could have gone for the double touch, instead goes for the safer option, giving it to Drippe, who's also up with him. Man, these link-up plays are looking good.
Yeah, they're looking so good right now for Cringe Society. They're making their passes. They're making their mechanical plays. They're winning the kickoff as well as Drippe nearly puts it in. That's okay. Spidos will follow through, and in less than 2 minutes, our score is 4-1.
Man, they're running away with this game number one. Still 3.5 minutes, not even past the halfway mark. They're already got a 3-goal lead. Mindfreak goal may have been good, but Cringe Society answered with 3 of their own.
Yeah, and for Mindfreak right now, it's time to sort of prepare for these double touch setups, perhaps. Start pulling off that backboard, because that has been the Cringe Society go-to. It feels like, you know, minus that sniper shot that came from Spydos before. Less than 2 minutes into this game, already 5 goals, and here goes Mindfreak. They're looking to put one in themselves. Cringe Society, they're scrambling to get on defense. Spydos does get there at the nick of time, and he's going to look to lead that counterattack. Does lose possession over to Ghost. However, Ghost can't do much with it as Torsos just kindly takes that away from him. He's making defenders miss. That ball is up in a dangerous spot, but Fever should be able to get the clear with the boost. Does he have that last touch? Not quite, because Stripe gets it away.
Yeah, Mindfreak looking a lot better in the attack, finally getting it out of their own half and up there. And they do look dangerous, but is a 3-goal lead enough to kind of cling onto for Cringe Society? It's looking so. They're still tight in front of net. I mean, no real mistakes to give space to Mindfreak. We saw in the match against Fury, they had a lot of mistakes that they could punish, but Cringe Society ain't going to give you those sort of breaks and easy shots and open nets. You got to kind of force your way in there.
Absolutely, that's going to be the case. And the other scary thing about Cringe Society is I expect them to still be looking for avenues to attack. The best defense sometimes is a good offense, and if you don't allow those shots, well, maybe things will work out for you. However, Mindfreak, they are starting to find more avenues. They are starting to find more cracks, and they are getting some semblance of possession. However, Cringe Society, as you can see right here, they can take it right back. That's an awkward pitch. Torsos able to catch it for now, and he should do enough to be able to clear it out. Ghost, he has to beat. Ghost actually wins the 50, but the fall through from Drippe is there.
Yeah, and a good win from Spydos there, the 50-50 in midfield. He was the last man. If he had failed that, it was an open net. Does well, and all of this pressure has come from that. You see Drippe just keeping it in Mindfreak's half. They do not like to have it in their own half, so forcing some mistakes out of Mindfreak is really Cringe Society's option at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Cringe Society, they're sitting comfortable. They've done a lot already in this game, quite obviously. They have that 3-goal lead, and it looks like game 1 will be going to them. But Requiem had a chance, just can't get that shot quite low enough. Ghost with the fall through will have his attack read by Spydos, who actually makes a great clearing save. Drippe now going for a double touch himself. Immaculate defense coming from one Requiem there, stakes the save.
Yeah, and it was Drippe there, stole it away because Fever missed his shot on the attack, and he was last man, so it meant that all that pressure came back. Thankfully, there was a rotation from Mindfreak, and Requiem managed to keep it out, so still only the 3-goal lead, but now a minute left on the clock. They did it against Fury, but a tougher task against Cringe Society.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the Fury defense and the Cringe Society defense, and that it was one player by the name of Spydos, as you can see, go upward, but actually loses out on that 50-50. Drippe, though, will be there to recover. He's using all of his boost to go across the pitch. He's setting things up. What an angle right there. It's not going to quite connect as a double demo. Does slow the pace down a little bit. 30 seconds remaining. Mindfreak need to strike now. Requiem, he's going to try and set things up for himself. Spydos actually doesn't get the redirect. He was looking for it to delay the attack. Path in the middle of the pitch, but Drippe gets there first.
Yeah, but still dangerously in front of net. Fever gets the touch, and Ghost manages to collect it, but no boost. Will probably get beat out by Drippe here. Look to clear. 10 seconds left on the clock. This game 1 is as good as goal. Can we see another goal from Cringe Society to seal it? Drippe tries. Torsos has an open net. Almost puts it above the bar, but doesn't miss those. And so Cringe Society are going to take out game 1, 5-1, unless there's a kickoff goal.
Yeah, and I think now it's time to take a step back and start to question where Mindfreak is actually at, because they lost Game 6 against Fury with a 6-1 scoreline. They're losing this one 5-1 at the moment, and that's where we will stay. That is 11 goals to 2 in their past 2 games. That is a terrifying trend if you are a Mindfreak fan.
Yeah, maybe that mentality's just kind of gone down the drain a little bit. As that last couple games of Fury was so dominant, and then coming into this game, you start off and it's already a 5-1 lead to Cringe Society in their first game. They take that early game in the series, and I mean, they're the favorites going into this, so that first game means a lot.
Absolutely, and this is a Cringe Society team, too, that you know are probably a little bit frustrated, probably even more focused than they were before their series with GroundZero, recognizing, like, okay, if we don't come at this 100%, we can lose. And with the expectations of not just making a grand final, but winning on the shoulders of everyone on this Cringe Society team, they're not going to give Mindfreak an ounce to work with. And if they're going to be able to dominate their opponents with 5-1, 6-1 score lines, you know they're going to do it. It's really up to Mindfreak, I feel, to rise up to Cringe Society.
Yeah, definitely, and I think those flashbacks for Requiem from last season are starting to kind of creep back into his mind. Spido's looking to knock him out in the losers bracket here, and it could be the end of Requiem's chances of staying and making top 3 this year. But yeah, they really need to fight back. Nothing really to note from them in that game number 1. They looked good in moments on the attack, but you got to be more than that. The defense needs to be cleaned up first of all. I mean, letting in 5 goals isn't going to help you at all.
Absolutely, but here's a fun little tidbit of how the games have been going so far today. Every team that has won the first game has lost the series, so yeah, Mindfreak does have that going for them, I suppose. However, it is going to be Cringe Society on offense off of that kickoff torso, putting the ball up, but Ghost will be able to respond, and he's looking for an alleyway clear, but Spido's just there, pass up to Drippe. He's going to waterfall the ball right back down to Spido's, and Cringe Society continuing that momentum, find the first goal.
Cringe Society are too good. I mean, if they played like this against GroundZero, they could have easily taken that series, but I mean, GroundZero don't give them the space to do this sort of thing. Mindfreak is, and this is what happens.
Yeah, and already I'm kind of looking at Mindfreak falling back into those same pitfalls. We're just not seeing that backboard defense. Demo from Torsos is going to set things up. Requiem tries to slow down, throwing it to the corner, but Spido's just there past to Torsos, but is caught by Ghost. So Mindfreak do stop this attack, but only momentarily, as Drippe is going to look for a pass himself, cannot connect to Torsos, but the ball will still roll to the Mindfreak corner.
Yeah, Requiem had a lot of space there, but kind of got baited into it by Spido, who quickly closes the gap and shuts him down his own half. Again, wins the 50-50 in the corner. Now Fever's got to clear, but it doesn't only goes as far as Drippe. He tries to find the pass back to Torsos, who does get it, but it was a little behind him, so it was awkward. Gives a lot of pressure back.
Speaking of awkward, Spido's just stealing that pass away because he wants to take the shot. Ghost does just enough to make the save, but Drippe will keep that pressure on. Doesn't find the bumper, the demo he was looking for, so it will be a tougher ask for Torsos to get that setup. Requiem does punish him for it. Spido's the next man up, has enough boost perhaps for one last touch. He had the waterfall setup, but that time it is read by Fever, and we're starting to see Mindfreak adapt. We're starting to see them make those backboard defensive plays.
Yeah, but still on the back foot, still have it in their half for almost all of the game. Finally, they get it out of there, and it quickly gets shut down. Fever's shot was almost not even a shot. It was just carrying it upfield. A long clearance, if you must. But again, Cringe Society back in the corner of Mindfreak, and I think they enjoy this scrappy game. These 50-50s almost always going their way. You see it there. Finally, a good clearance from Requiem. We'll put this into Cringe Society's corner, but Torsos is going to clear this, if not Spidoge.
Yeah. Even when Mindfreak find their ways to attack, Cringe Society is already waiting on defense. It's going to have to come from a crazy play. Nearly it right there. Requiem had the shot, but could not connect on target. Attack still on point. Ghost, he has boost to put this ball where he wants, but he gets bumped by members of both teams and loses possession. It does look like it's a bit of a scramble right now. Drippe is the one who gets the big hit, the big clear, trying to play it through the corner. Fever's actually going to take it across the pitch. Spido's with the read, doesn't have the boost to follow it through. And once again, Cringe Society, they're going to be kind of on an attack.
These long clearances from Mindfreak are good because it's not baiting them into these 50-50s with Cringe Society, which they're more often than not losing, but there's no one really following it up to challenge that second ball. It's just kind of a clearance to buy them time, maybe collect some resources, and then they're back on the back foot. But I mean, Cringe Society already have the lead. They need to find a goal at least to take this to overtime, so they can't just keep defending. They've got to think about a counterattack here and there, and Torsos makes it too with a good dunk down on Ghost.
Yeah, let's watch this one again. Spido, he tried to push it through the corner. Torsos with the ball through, and unfortunately, Ghost did not get the clear he wanted. He just put that right back into Torsos' face, who, cool, calm, and collectively will punch that ball in. And Cringe Society, this is looking dominant. This is looking so strong for them, but this is the same start that they had against GroundZero, and we all know how that series went. Requiem, a little bit of a style solo play right there, just can't get it past that last man. And Torsos, another shooting opportunity. It's going to be saved by the Cringe Society.
Oh, and a waterfall down here, though. Torsos couldn't recollect it for a pass, and Drippe's pass just hits the backboard, not the corner there, so it doesn't go in front of net. Spidos tries something, but gets denied. Torsos collects it. No one from Mindfreak really following up on that second touch. Requiem goes under, though, and tries to push on through and hope for Ghost's pass, but Spidos intercepts again. They can't get it out of their half cleanly.
No, they can't. Cringe Society, they're sort of just ready for every sort of clear attempt that Mindfreak has, even when it looks like they're going to be going all the way back. There's still someone from Cringe Society there, and when they're on offense, well, that's when Cringe Society is really everywhere. The speed, the boost control, everything just going in Cringe Society's favor, and that is why they have that 2-0 lead. That is why they are in control of the series right now. Requiem, he keeps going time and time again for these solo plays, and he's getting close, but not quite hitting that mark.
Really feels like Mindfreak are just playing solo standard here, whereas Cringe Society have gone full 3-man. They're prepared, they know each other's plays, they're on the same page, and it's working out. I mean, a 2-goal lead is a 2-goal lead. It doesn't look as dominant as they have been, but Mindfreak haven't shown anything this match.
Ooh, that almost could have been an opportunity. Torso's able to get there first, but Mindfreak's still on the attack. Fever, maybe he can find another touch, maybe he can find something, but he just does not have that angle. Requiem instead pushes forward to try to keep the momentum going, but Ghost cannot get there in time for the shot. Drippay now tries to clear. Fever catches it. One last chance perhaps. Not going to be the case, and Spydoge is going to take it back to the orange side of the pitch, and with 22 seconds left, 2 goals, I think that might do it.
Yeah, definitely. That was the best chance for Mindfreak, but it was almost just hitting it to bait out the players from Cringe Society. Nothing really went in front of the goal, in front of net. No real shots from it. It was just constant passes until Cringe Society finally found a clearance.
And off of that clearance, they will find themselves game number 2. So for the second time today, Cringe Society, they're up 2-0 in a series. The big question now is, can they get it done? Can they finish, or will Mindfreak start to fight back?
Yeah, we'll have to see. That is the question. But Cringe Society looking dominant, looking like they want to stay in playoffs, make it to that top 3, kind of get more cash for themselves. They want to fight back to make it to the final, maybe get some revenge against GroundZero or beat Fury, depending on how that match goes next weekend. But looking really dominant, and Mindfreak haven't shown much.
Yeah, I think Cringe Society want a bit more than third. I think, yes, they want that revenge match at GroundZero, whether it would be in the losers semifinals or in the grand final. They don't care. They just want to get all the way back to GroundZero, back against Fury. They want to run that gauntlet, and they're looking posed to do so right now, up 2-0. Mindfreak, however, again, this is the younger team. This is the newer team. Their backs are against the wall, and it still hasn't felt like they've recovered from what Fury had done to them.
Yeah, definitely. I think going into this game, they should be warmed up. They should have the better start compared to Cringe Society, but instead it's the opposite way. Cringe Society have come firing. Maybe that rest break from them because their game was earlier in the day is helping them, but Mindfreak just look exhausted.
Yeah, they look exhausted, and you can see they're trying to fire themselves up. Requiem, he's going for those solo plays, those individual plays. Like, yes, it's not necessarily working best as a team, but if you watch a teammate or you yourself make some crazy, your musty flick, your flip reset, you make that big play happen, it can energize your team and get them back into it. They just need to connect on it. However, Spydo's off the kickoff, puts it off the top crossbar. Drippay with the follow through will get that goal, and Cringe Society, it takes them 5 seconds to regain that lead.
I actually don't know how Drippay put this in. I thought he was going to hit this over. It somehow manages to get over that ball and tuck it down. I think it was the flip at the end. Some great mechanics from Drippay there. And that's a 1-goal lead. Only 5 seconds it took to get back in the lead. Oh, Mindfreak have got a very tough task ahead of them.
Back in the driver's seat is just where Cringe Society wants to be. One of the toughest teams to overcome when they have that lead. And now Mindfreak, the woes possibly continue as Cringe Society is still looking for an offensive attack. However, 2 members rotating back on defense, so it did leave an open pocket for Requiem to go straight on down the middle. But now here comes that counter. Spiders, he flicks it over one. Requiem should be able to sweep through and make a save, but the fall through with Torsos off at the bump. The shot was on target, but Requiem did recover to make the save.
Yeah, Spydo's still carrying it on though, tries to find it back up against the wall, but Fever collects it, Torso bring it back against the net, but no one really following that one up. Drippay will collect this in the middle with help from Spydo's, I believe. Doesn't win the 50-50. I think Ghost won 2 there and tries to net himself with gold for his efforts, but just gets beat by the last man as Torsos tries to collect this in the corner, goes for bumps instead, opens the door for Spydo's. Can he find it? Does!
Oh my!
Over 2, and Cringe Society take a 2-goal lead in game number 3.
It was like he hit that ball with the cricket bat. Just kind of popped it right up, and then it pop, stacked it right on in. Requiem tried to make the save, wasn't going to get there in time. See, cricket, haha, despite the American accent, I know Australian terms in sports. Either way, Cringe Society, they're up 2-0. They are still in control. They want more off this kickoff, and it's going to be Spydosh who takes that shot. Requiem, he waited, he read the shot, and he made the save.
Mindfreak haven't had a single chance in the last 2 games. And it's looking like Cringe Society are just running away with this one. It doesn't even look close.
Yeah, however, Mindfreak might find this goal right here, at least till Torso steals it away with a nice pass up to Drippe, who dropped it back to Spidos. These defensive passes are so critical and so good at stopping Mindfreak attacks. It was a swing and a miss for the clear. Fortunately for Mindfreak, the shot was not on target, but the attack is still on. Drippe keeping the pressure there, Torso throwing it back. Great pass to Drippe, who takes the shot, but with no power behind it, Fever can make the save.
Cringe Society having so much fun with this one, constantly linking up in these passing plays, redirects. They're just playing without any fear of Mindfreak.
Yeah, they feel like they can get away with anything, but sometimes you will get punished, as Requiem does just that to make it 2-1.
Yeah, Fever winning a crucial 50-50 there, and then Requiem beating Spidos to the ball and putting that on target nets them a goal in this series, a must-needed goal after the last 7 minutes. They haven't really done anything, and that's the first real opportunity from a counterattack, but Cringe Society instantly come out swinging from the kickoff, looking to find that 2-goal lead once again.
Did you like the curve right there from Requiem's shot as well? That thing, that was just, you know, bending it like Beckham, as one would say. However, Cringe Society, they're still in the lead. They're still on the attacking half. At least they are at the moment. Drippe is going to make sure it stays that way. It's a pass to Torsos, who doesn't get that slam down. Spidos going to keep it off of that backboard into the corner. Drippe follows through, does beat Fever to the punch, so the ball's still in a dangerous spot. Fever, though, gets there first, and he actually dribbles it over a couple defenders. He has a shot, only one defender there, but Drippe is able to make the save. Follow through attempt from Ghost is caught by the Cringe Society, and finally it looks like they can alleviate some pressure. Their defensive rotation should recover, but Mindfreak still looking for that opening. Requiem going to throw it down, but Drippe will get the clear.
Yeah, great play from Fever there. In the extended play, though, he kind of made a mistake. He had time to kind of catch the ball at the end there and maybe dribble it, take the 1v1 on against the keeper, but instead kind of just forced it in the corner and bought a lot of time for Cringe Society to get back into net and clear it quite easily, I might say. But he's trying once again, wins that 50-50, gets it in the middle, but Torsos' clearance will be good, puts it past any chance of Mindfreak keeping that in there in half, and now Requiem's going to clear the other end.
Yeah, Requiem's going to try and clear, but Spidos is already up to slow the pace down. Fever's going to punch it through, but it did buy time for Drippe to recover, get that boost, and get the clear himself. Spidos now going for demos. Drippe, he's just going to go ahead, throw it to the opposite corner. Fever actually cuts it off at mid-pitch, but Drippe, recognizing that could be the play, pushes through himself, and once again, Mindfreak back foot, but Requiem's making defenders miss, tries to get it past Spidos, and since when taken over the top, ball in a dangerous spot, but Drippe, he has been the rock this series. He has just been in the right spot at the right time and been the most consistent on these players. Pinch and goal!
What a goal for Cringe Society, this pinch from midfield. I said they were playing with such confidence, and this just shows it here. If that goes wrong, it's devastating, but if it goes right, it looks absolutely fantastic. Goal of the day for me. Spidos had one earlier, and they just beat that.
My jaw just dropped when I saw that pitch and how accurate it was, and Drippe's not done. He's going to go for a double touch, but doesn't get that last touch to get the ball in. That's okay, though, if you're a Cringe Society fan, because the attack's still on. Torsos still keeping it in the box. Fever's going to try and clear it out, and does get it over the top of Spidos. However, Drippe is just going to punch it right back onto the Mindfreak half. He's going for the aerial dribble, but gets bumped off the ball.
Mindfreak at the start of before the game against Fury said that Cringe Society was the one that they kind of favored more over GroundZero. They were scared of GroundZero, but they should have been scared of Cringe Society because they are absolutely running away with this series. They're toying with them, playing with their food, if you must.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Cringe Society, they are just playing at that level we had been expecting to see from them all season long. This is the super team Cringe Society. This is the no-nonsense. We are going to get pinch goals from mid-pitch and beat you in that fashion. This is the, we don't care if we've already won, we're going to score at 0 seconds, Cringe Society, as Torsos does find that last one to win Game 3 4-1.
This is the closest game of the series so far, and it ended 4-1. I mean, the 2-0, I guess, scoreline is closer, but it just still felt like Cringe Society was in the driver's seat the whole time. Mindfreak showed some real good chances in this one, but still ends 4-1 as Drippe and Torsos and even Spidos just toying with them, putting in some insane goals. That pinch shot is going to go down in history for sure.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And if you are a fan of Cringe Society, if you've been following the likes of Drippe and Torsos throughout their career, you may have been nervous seeing them drop down to this loser's bracket, but I'm starting to think those stresses are quickly alleviating because this team is starting to perform at that level we had been waiting to see. They're up 3-0, and they've won every game like without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, and Drippe looking that he's back in form. I mean, he left for America and everyone expected big things when he came back last season. Didn't really perform up to the expectations, and throughout the season maybe didn't live up to them either, but now in playoffs is really looking like the old Drippe. And man, it shows. He is playing with such confidence, and I mean, Mindfreak's giving them a lot of space to do these sorts of plays, but they're still not easy to pull off.
Yeah, Mindfreak, I mean, looking at them as well, they're on the back foot so often, so it's really hard to analyze their counterattacks, but this has just been a Cringe Society game, similar to what we saw in games 1 and 2 against GroundZero. When Cringe Society can play the type of game they want to play, which is attack, 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 challenge everything at mid-pitch, don't give up any momentum at any stage, they are so tough to overcome. And unfortunately, Mindfreak, they've been forced to play this Cringe Society style, and they're coming out worse for wear. Maybe they can turn it around in Game 4. Maybe they can start that miraculous comeback, but a reverse sweep with a young team, with everything on the line, it is such a tough ask.
Yeah, it's looking like Requiem's going to have nightmares about this one. After last season's performance in playoffs, it's looking like the same. He's playing well and easily the best player on Mindfreak this whole day, but isn't enough to carry his team as Cringe Society are all playing on the same page, and it shows.
Yeah, well, they are on the attack initially as Requiem's trying to keep this going. Ghost as well putting up, but every time a member of Mindfreak steps up, someone from the Cringe Society is stepping up with him and just challenging every aerial 50-50. Torsos now with control of the ball actually delivers it to Requiem. Drippe and Spidosh double command, they bump into each other. Ghost, does he have time to punish? A little bit too slow on it, so Mindfreak don't get that breakaway shot just yet. Ghost is still making defenders miss, but he can't make Torsos do the same. Torsos looking to follow through, but Spidosh actually comes from underneath. He's going to follow it all the way through into that corner, but then misread the ball. He's probably went for the bump just off camera, but it's not going to be relevant as Fever takes it away.
Yeah, nice little musty flick, but all it really does is buy a bit of time for them to regroup as the Cringe Society look to regain, but this little pass there from Requiem snuffed out by Torsos was looking good until the defense came through.
That shot was also on target, but Spidosh is there, and you can see, yes, these are looking like open nets. Yes, these are looking like potential goals from Mindfreak, but there was always someone from Cringe Society on that rotation, sometimes even two members. Their defense, what was missing against GroundZero, has found itself yet again. However, Ghost making defenders miss, but it comes at the cost of possession of the ball. Spidosh now has a chance to set himself up, gets it past Fever, fall through from Drippe. It's going to waterfall down, but Torsos doesn't like it, so just doesn't take the shot.
Yeah, definitely Cringe Society looking amazing on the attack, and we pointed out time and time again, but also just looking so solid in the back. Every time Mindfreak gets a chance, Torsos finds that goal to get them the lead, and it's looking unbearable for Mindfreak now because, as I'm saying, Cringe Society's defense is too good to...
All right, that angle was tight. It wasn't as tight as Spidosh's before, but that was not an easy goal from Torsos, finding that angle, punching it in, and Cringe Society get their first goal of Game 4. They're looking for the clean sweep. They've got 3 minutes to hold on to keep Mindfreak from getting anything going. Spidosh nearly puts it in. Torsos with the follow-through shot is saved by Requiem. Cringe Society, they are still in control. They have not given up momentum since the start of game number 1, and Mindfreak, they're running out of time.
Yeah, they are. Requiem trying to put his team on his back time and time again. You see with the clearance here, trying to catch it again to take it up by himself, finds it in the corner, looks for the pass, but Ghost went for the bumps instead of the shot, and that means that this is going to go all the way back to the other side of the field.
Yeah, and Spidosh has another flick to work with. It goes off the top crossbar. It's hanging there. Requiem finally gets there in time to make the save, but he can't stop the second shot as Torsos makes it a 2-goal lead.
What a play from Spidosh. Oh, I wish it went in so that he could take all the credit. Instead it falls to Torsos, who cleans it up in the end. A bit messy, but it's a goal. It's a 2-goal lead in game number 4. They're looking to sweep this series and take themselves on to next weekend to maybe challenge GroundZero once again and take back what they lost.
And if you are Requiem right now, you are fighting your heart out. We can see it. We see you, Requiem. You just need your teammates to rise to your level. You still have 2 minutes left. You can still make this happen. But Cringe Society, they don't want to let you have it. They want to hold on to control. They want to play next week. They still believe they deserve to be champions. And Mindfreak, unfortunately, are just in their way.
Yeah, it's this midfield battle time and time again. They're just losing out or not quick enough to even challenge it. And so all the pressure is just put on them instantly. You see Spider probably win this 50-50. For once, Mindfreak are actually challenging it there, but an easy cleanup in the back line is just going to mean they pass this on, start to mount their attack once again. But Fever actually winning these 50-50s, tries to set it up, but again, this is just these rotations from Cringe Society are too good.
Yeah, this is so scary as Spidos drops it down to Drippe, who takes a shot right into that corner. Torsos is the setup man. It's off that top crossbar. No one else is there. Everyone else went back on defense to stop any semblance of a Mindfreak counterattack. And fortunately, they did, because Spidos now can look this up and attack himself. Off of the demo, Fever does make it the save momentarily, but they need more than that. They need goals. Ball in the corner. Fever is going to have to try and challenge Spidos, but Spidos has way too much time to get there first, and Torsos will follow through on that clear.
Yeah, Cringe Society still looking good in defense. Maybe their attacks aren't as flashy now, but they just need to see this out. Only a minute left until they see themselves go to the next weekend. But Mindfreak now only have 48 seconds to try and not find themselves an early exit in playoffs.
Yeah, it's coming down to that wire. 40 seconds to go, and on the defense, needing 2 goals. Torsos doesn't get that last little touch. So the score will remain the same, at least momentarily, but even with 30 seconds remaining, even with a 2-goal lead, Cringe Society making Mindfreak fight for everything. This could be that chance, but Requiem can't catch the pass.
Yeah, looking like a clearance here. Gonna see it out. Unless Mindfreak have a goal here, this is the only way to crawl back in. It's looking like their chances are down and out. They're gonna get absolutely swept in this losers final, but a shot from Requiem, again saved by Torsos. Everything they try is just not coming through. Spider's been so solid in net, it's looking like it's gonna pay off. Mindfreak are getting knocked out early. A 4-0 from Cringe Society, moving on to next weekend. What a match from them.
A great performance from Cringe Society. However, for the team of Mindfreak, for the likes of Requiem, once again, his dream falls just that little bit short. And while his teammates might be grateful for that top 4 experience, unfortunately, it's just not going to be what they're looking for at the end of the day. A valiant effort from Mindfreak. They did fight, but Cringe Society just proved to be too much for them to handle.
Yeah, sadly, we say goodbye to Mindfreak, but I'm going to have to pass this over to Smite and Yummy to break this one down for you.
And that, I think, is a really, really good example of what veterans look like compared to challengers who haven't had these tense situations before. Yummy, I mean, is that fair to say that we just saw very experienced players show why they are called such a good team?
Oh, yeah, that reminded me of Canberra Havoc against Torsos last season in the domination. I mean, that was rough for Mindfreak. They've been playing this defensive game. They've been playing this hold back. But Torsos loves that. Every team he's ever been on has all been about staying in attack, having the pressure, and not letting your opponents have those opportunities. And all I can say is when you're playing that defensively, it doesn't look like lightning can strike twice. Both against Fury and now against Cringe Society, that story has not worked. That play style has not worked. It's been figured out. And unfortunately for Mindfreak, it got to a point where Cringe Society were almost going for flashy freestyle solo goals, like just having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, individually, they just all wanted to show off. I mean, we had sniper shots from Spinedoge. We had that beautiful pinch shot coming up from Drippe and Torsos. I mean, all players got to have their moment. But speaking of their individual talents, we got to give one of them MVP. And for me, it was close, but I want to hear your thoughts. Who comes out on top, Yummy?
Yeah, I think all 3 of them had great moments. And I think if you look at a series where it almost becomes who can do the flashiest, most fun watching or most fun looking goals, it ends up going down to Spidoge. He gets the MVP for me. He had a bunch of great goals. He had a flip reset right at the end there that didn't go in, but it set it up for Torsos. And on top of that, I think for me, what edged him out is not just his performance in this series, but he performed incredibly across the entire day. And so Spidoge, the rookie of this team, or the new man of this team, has had a big performance.
Yeah, look, Spidoge, You got to say this man must love playoffs because he pops off in this one, he pops off in the previous one, and there it goes. His team now moves on. They're now in the top 3. And guys, that is all of our matches for today. So we still have more coming up next week. However, we're going to be breaking down all the matches, giving you our thoughts on what we expect to happen and exactly what the bracket's going to be looking like right after this break. So go get a drink and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We've just finished up all of our matches today. We've decided our top 3 and who's going to be in the winner's bracket. We're back here and we're ready to break down the matches, guys. So I want to talk about the matches we saw today. So just as a quick recap, we saw GroundZero get the 4-2 against Cringe Society. Then later on, we saw Fury get the 4-2 against Mindfreak. And then in the loser's bracket, Cringe Society demolished Mindfreak with a 4-0. And so with that, guys, I want to get your thoughts because we had some really good games today, some really good series. I mean, what are your favorite takeaways and your favorite moments from today? So we'll start with Yummy. I mean, what did you love today?
My takeaway from today is just how strong GroundZero is. Coming in, I thought Cringe Society at their best were going to be the best team, but GroundZero came in at their best and they were better than Cringe Society's best. So I'm really looking forward to see how they go through the rest of the bracket. And I'd probably say my favorite moment was from GroundZero where Jules gets a double touch off the roof, lands on their backboard, gets the pass out. They had some great passes today, GroundZero. Incredible teamwork. But that one really stood out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That kind of anime turnaround coming out from GroundZero. They started off kind of weak and then just went Super Saiyan almost halfway through that series and completely took it over. Went God mode, as Smite said earlier. And yeah, it was fantastic. I think even that final game was just showed the peak of what Cringe Society could look like if they had turned up to their full potential in that match. And it was a 4-0. There was some fantastic styly goals. I mean, that pinch with Tuazos and Drippe to note. And yeah, that was a fantastic game to end on.
Yeah. It's up. You're raising your hand. Hi.
Oh, no,
Sorry, I'm a little bit delayed.
Yes, that was a beautiful, beautiful
right.
play,
I thought that was the subtle. Anyways, but no, my point I want to make, though, and I'm going back to actually to that first series as well as Yummy. The goal that I think everyone unfortunately forgot was Torsos's off that kickoff, making everyone miss, flicking it off the top crossbar, punching it in. I think that was a standout moment. Obviously, you also have SpyDoge's snipe shot in that last series. It just really feels like Cringe Society were the team that were making the stylish, show-offy plays. But not a lot of talk about Fury right now, and that kind of surprises me because my takeaway from this one is, guess what? Fury, they are a team. It's not just the Amphis show. Scarth and Kenny, they can show up, they can play, and they can pull off wins against the likes of Mindfreak. So I'm curious if they're going to continue to rise to this top level and what they can do up against GroundZero next week.
Well, fellas, we don't have long to wait because next week we are going to be able to answer all those questions. But let's take a look at the bracket so we can see exactly the matches that we're going to be checking out. Of course, through the winner's bracket semifinal, it will be GroundZero taking on Fury, and then the loser of that match will face Cringe Society to decide the second team that goes to the grand finals. So guys, to come out of this one, let's get our thoughts on these matches. First up, semifinals, GroundZero versus Fury. I mean, if you had to make a prediction, what does that match look like?
I mean, GroundZero, they just looked like the best team in OCE right now today. Can they put that performance together for 2 weekends in a row? Well, they have also been the most consistent team, in my opinion, across league play. So I do think they'll be able to do it, and they should be able to win that, especially given the worry of Cringe Society waiting for the loser of that match.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Fury kind of has in their bag is Amphis could show up. I think today he didn't really show much, and it was the Scarth and Kenny show, and we didn't really see that much this season. So if Amphis kind of plays that level, he's had his first day of playoffs already, so now those nerves should be calmed. I think going into next week, we could see him really pop off and the whole team be a whole, and then it could be a good match against GroundZero, even in the form they played today.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Fury as well, on the fact that they're kind of on a 3-series win streak right now, they're pulling it off, you know, good series, and they've dropped 2 games every single one of these series, but every single time they've bounced back after dropping those games and just come back with the force. So if you're GroundZero, it's that third game that's going to be that important. That said, I do think GroundZero is probably going to have it. That team has looked unstoppable when they are on their peak form. I think that might continue. Similarly, though, down there in that losers bracket, we cannot write off Cringe Society because they're going to be hungry. They still feel like this is their tournament to win. And just because they're in the losers bracket, that's not going to change their mindset.
All right, so I guess final question now, guys. We've got to make a prediction. Who are we going to see in the grand finals? Because, I mean, GroundZero may be looking like the stronger team in the winners bracket, but is Cringe Society looking like the team that can make it there too? Is that what we're going to see? Yummy, I'll start with you.
I'm actually going to call Cringe Society win it all. And that is because Fury are going to go to the lower bracket. Cringe Society, they've shown that they are able to, I guess, comfortably beat Fury. And they're going to go into the grand final looking hot, straight off a win and get that early lead. Now, it's whether they can hold on to it, which they haven't been able to do against GroundZero before.
I'm going to have to say, I think it's going to be the same final, but I'm going to have to give it GroundZero's way. Today, they looked unstoppable, even when Cringe Society were playing so well. And I don't think they give the same amount of space that Mindfreak gave them in that losers final. So I don't think they can really pull off those flashy plays when GroundZero's really bringing it to them.
I want to say Year of the Salmon so bad. I want to see Fury make that run, but I have to go with my mind on this one. I think GroundZero takes it. I've bet on Cringe Society before in the gauntlet. I thought, they were going to take that and run away with it at that last possible minute, and they let me down. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. GroundZero looks unbeatable. They're my picks to take everything.
Okay, guys, well, that's pretty much all of us for this week. Next weekend is going to be an absolutely stunning weekend for all the matches involved. Before we go, though, first off, a huge thank you to Yummy and Formal for joining us on the show. You guys have been a fantastic addition, and it's always great to get more Rocket League experts on the show. But also, I want to shout out all of our sponsors who make this event possible. So, big shout out to Baraka for giving us a huge amount of support. Vodafone, Sky City, and Conquer with their monitors as well, all making this possible. But lads, that is it. We're going to have to call it there, and we're going to have to wait one more week before we get one of the best finals in Rocket League Oceania history. So to all the viewers at home, I hope to see you next week, and we'll have a great series.
Tell me somebody how long he will be on my mind. He will be on my mind.